Hey, everybody, and welcome to the very first inaugural episode of Gimme Back My Horror Movies. I'm Charlie. I'm going to be leading this wagon train to hell, I guess we'll call it. And with me on my little phone screen, like I do Dan, is Nate. Say hello to the people, Nate.
What is up, Charlie? I am stoked.
This is going to be fun, man. Nate, it's funny for everyone to understand that Nate is the exact same distance from me as Dan is because Nate also lives in Columbus, Ohio, just on the southern part of the what we call the outer belt. I lived there for a while, so this is how I know everybody up there. Um, so this is still telecommunicating over the phone and recording these bad boys, but this is going to be fun, man. I'm excited. We had Nate on. Was it Hellbound? We
It
had
was
you on Hellbound,
Hellbound,
didn't we?
what, 2 episodes ago at this point for the Give Me Back My Action movies?
Yeah, by the time they hear this, I'd say it'd be 2 episodes
Yeah.
because this one should be dropping on a Thursday, so if you're listening on a Thursday, thanks for clicking on the very first day we drop.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you for the future listen.
and for those of you that are subscribed to us and are going, "This isn't the action thing I clicked on," that's okay. The action shows are still happening. We're just doing both shows on the same feed. So think of it as a 2 for 1 click when you click on our subscribe thing on Podbean or Apple or Spotify or wherever you're at. Um, and I'm still trying to learn how to drive this thing. Dan usually drives the other show, but I think I'll do okay.
He is a talking force.
He is the talking force, he's the radio guy, and I am the action fanatic, and I have to pass the trophy to Nate on the horror end of it because Nate is gonna be the in-house horror fanatic.
Which is gonna be a little strange that I'll be the one, being passenger, but also, like, "Give me that steering wheel, we're gonna drive this horror to dark and deep and depths of hell, and who
Well,
knows
it
what
is.
will come out on the other side."
Yeah, and I said it during the Hellbound is there's not a lot of difference between horror and action movies. You
There
throw
isn't.
you throw a Jason mask on some of these action guys. Like I just watched, I had something on in the background, so I put Last Blood, the last Rambo movie, and that whole segment at the end in the cave, the tunnels, dude, put a Jason mask on him because
It's Friday the
that
13th.
that is a straight up horror movie on the last, like, 15 minutes of that movie.
Yeah, so it's funny because, like, on my Facebook memories, maybe this was, like, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, because that's when this movie c when Last Blood came out. My, status update after leaving the theater was, "Last Blood was the best Friday the 13th movie,"
Oh, 100%.
because it was. And then,
I
like, it was Mother's Day, because I decided I was going to drink the entire day while Hannah was at work and watch every single Rambo movie in order, and by the time Hannah had gotten home, I had just finished up Last Blood, and I was about 12 or 14 beers deep, and I was like, "You need to watch the last half hour of Last Blood. I'm not even gonna show you anything else." And I'm like, Rambo rips a man's head off, and then, like, there's just so much carnage, and, like, Hannah sat there and watched the only bit of Rambo they have ever seen, and it's just this pure carnage and just him, like, tearing every little henchman apart in just graphic and horrible ways.
well, he rips the last guy's heart out of his chest.
Yeah, and then he, like,
It
has a nice seat.
Yeah, then he sits down on a rocking chair and just looks out into the sunset. So, it's not a far stretch to think that I am a horror fan. I've seen probably 90% of the movies that Nate has seen. It's funny because Nate is obviously the younger of you're the youngest of the entire group of friends, aren't you? You're younger than
Yeah,
Cody?
I'm the baby of the
You're the
entire
baby.
group.
Dan's the old man, and that's my co-host on the other, and I get the baby on this show.
Yeah, yeah, you
But
get the oldest old man, and then you get the baby on this one.
yeah, so I'm sure I'll still be suggesting movies to Nate where he goes, "I've never heard of that," and I'll be like, "Oh, I forgot how old you are.
It
That's
it could
right."
very well happen. It's funny too, because, like, when we started the, Give Me Back My Horror Movies, Facebook page, you had posted, like, Chopping Mall was the one that really, like, got you in, and
Yeah,
I was thinking on mine when I posted mine was Tremors, But I was like, "Man, mine might even be, like, Scream," and it's like, that's kind of a generational thing, though, because
It
even though
is.
Scream came out in what, 96, 97,
Yeah, it was late '90s.
you think about that, I was, like, 8 or 9. What
Uh,
a perfect time to be, scared of something like that, and, as an adult, you realize Scream is way more humor in it, but, like, as a kid, that
yeah.
was terrifying, not knowing who was behind that ghost face mask.
Exactly, and it's not that much different than when I talk about some of the action movies that I love because I was a little kid in the '80s. Like, I was born in '80, and some of the greats came out in, like, '84, '85. I didn't watch some of these movies till the '90s. Um, but it was so awesome having that, like, catalog of movies to go, "That was awesome. What else you got?" And I could watch, like, all 3 Rambos, or I could watch 2 Terminator movies, and, like, with horror, once I got into it, Lord, I could go through at least 5 Jason movies by the time I was ready to start watching them, and then probably about 5 or 6, Nightmare on Elm Streets, till I caught up to where the newer ones were coming out, in
Oh,
the
no, I mean,
mid '90s and late '90s.
totally the same because, like, where I grew up, like, Grant, you grew up in deep country, I just grew up in, like, shallow country, let's put it that way.
I've never heard it
Um,
called shallow country, I like that.
yeah, um, my nana had HBO, so she would record the movies off of HBO. So, like, I guarantee I have, like, a VHS mixtape somewhere, yeah, hopefully, if she kept any, that may have, like, a Friday the 13th Part 3, a Child's Play 2, and then, like, a random Freddy movie. But I
Yeah,
remember from our local video store, our local grocery store had, like, a little section after you first walked in and get past the registers, they would have the VHS titles to
mhm,
rent, and I remember we rented Freddy's Dead when that one had came out.
yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah,
that's very early '90s, like, I can't even remember
that's
what year that came off the top of my head.
that's when I remember being, like, right in the window of me watching these movies is when that came out, and also I remember being a kid at that time because there was the whole video game sequence in Freddy's Dead. It had,
Yeah,
Roseanne Barr and Tom Arnold, and everyone my age was watching Roseanne, so, that's one of those that I caught up to Freddy's Dead, and I had the same thing. My buddy Ben, we've talked about him before. We would rent every movie possible if it was horror or action. It came down to whether we could even get it down here. But this movie that we're getting ready to talk about is one of those movies I remember renting with Ben, and I watched it first on VHS. And everyone's seen the title, obviously. We are doing Near Dark, and there's a reason we picked this one first. Not just because it's the banner art on the Facebook group when I made it, because I wanted something that looked cool. And then it dawns on me that I start looking at it closer, going, oh man, I actually picked the near dark, like, this artwork, and it's all of the characters, and never even realized when we picked this movie to do. Nate's like, oh yeah, I like the banner. And I'm like, oh, shit, I did do that as the banner on the
it
group.
turns out when we made the group, we inadvertently gave you the teaser for the first episode 2
It's
months
been in
ago.
your
Didn't
face.
even know it.
Been in your face the whole time. But the other reason I wanted to pick it is this is on the same feed as the action feed. So I know a lot of action guys are probably going to listen to this. Hopefully you keep listening. But this is kind of a bridging movie for us because the majority of this cast was in Aliens. We
Yeah,
have Lance Henriksen, who was Bishop in Aliens. He's Jesse in Near Dark. We have Bill Paxton, man. That man needs no introduction. He plays Severin in this.
he
Um,
steals every scene of any movie he's in. God, I miss Bill
he really
Paxton so
does. He
much.
really does. We also have Jeanette Goldstein, who was Vasquez with the minigun in Aliens. She's Diamondback in this. This is also directed by a future wife of James Cameron, um, Catherine
A
Bigelow.
short-lived marriage.
Yeah,
But
I
there's
don't
definitely history there.
I don't know how people think marriages in Hollywood are supposed to work, man. There's so few that have lasted like over 20 plus years, and you're just like, why do you guys even bother? At
Yeah,
this
like,
point.
so many times where it's like, "That's, like, the 3rd one, you're going for the turkey."
Yeah, and there's even a small little Easter egg that James Cameron is in this movie.
Yep, he has a
Uh,
small little cameo. A piece
yep.
of him does.
One piece of him, he gives Bill Paxton's character the bird when Bill Paxton's hitchhiking, and it's just a nice little thing. And it was also they asked James, this script came across Paxton's plate, and he loved it, and actually sent it to Hendrickson. Hendrickson, man, this guy took this script into his soul.
Yeah,
After,
like, and it's
oh my
funny
god,
because Bill Paxton's like, "I love this, like, I gotta do this," and Lance is like, "We just did Aliens, I don't wanna do another B-rated, like,
well, it was more like
movie."
we just did Aliens with James Cameron. We are on the way up, is how I
Yeah, and
took
you're
what
wanting
he
to
said.
take 3 steps back almost is what it feels like, and
Yeah,
then it was literally the next day after Lance had read it, he called Bill and was like, "Dude, we have to do this, like, this is a
yeah,
must."
yeah. And Nate has the Blu-ray, he has the documentary, and I hadn't watched this movie for probably 15 years. The last time I watched it. So I watched it this week, and then I found the documentary on YouTube. So I watched it. Thank God I watched it because, as we'll talk about in a little bit, it kind of changes my opinion on this movie. I had an opinion going into this movie picking it. I had an opinion after I watched it, and now I have a new opinion after the documentary. But let's do our, I guess, our normal thing for the action, but the first time for the horror is we're going to play the trailer for Near Dark. And I will go ahead and tell you, this trailer was meant to be seen. It takes a few minutes, or not a few minutes, but it takes a little bit to really get going. But we're just going to play it for you right now.
Howdy. I'm gonna separate your head from your shoulders.
Do it fast.
All right.
The times roll. Woo! No! You might as well just kill me then, too.
Caleb Colton no longer belongs to our world.
We give him a week, see if we can call him one of us.
He belongs to hers.
But you have to learn to kill.
He belongs to theirs.
I want to kill.
He makes you kill tonight.
And they all belong to the night.
It's 3 hours short for a bus ticket home. You help me out?
What are you on?
Believe me, I told you.
Just don't think of it as killing.
Evening.
Evening. Don't think at all. It's just something that you do night after night. It's only ever a question of time.
You nervous? I would be too if I were you. Near dark.
Could be your boys falling in with some trouble. Check out time.
Bought yourself some time, son.
God damn, this is my family. Let him go.
Near dark. Pray for daylight. The night has its price.
So yeah, that was it's a visual trailer. I will
It
tell you that right now.
You can even tell with the trailer, like, you're in for a dark ride, and that kind of hurts the movie in a way, only because there was another really tiny, maybe small, independent vampire movie that came
Mhm.
out the same year that beat this to theaters by, like, a
A
month.
month? Yeah, it was like a month that it beat it.
Yeah.
What was that movie, Nate? I don't know if I've ever heard of
Yeah,
it.
I don't know if you've heard of it, it's called The Lost Boys?
Lost
Um,
Boys. What, the Peter
yeah,
Pan
it has a
guys?
sexy sax man.
Oh, now I do remember the sexy sax man.
Yeah. Yeah, that beat this movie, and, if we wanna get into the box office numbers real quick,
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. You'll take the Dan roll on the box
yeah, I'll do the
office.
Dan roll on this. This had a budget of $5,000,000, and domestically, throughout its entire run, it only made 3.3 million. And
Ouch.
opening weekend was $635,789. Opening weekend.
Ouch.
So it flopped big time. Where in comparison, this little indie Lost Boys made something like 32 million. So one went down in history of being remembered, and the other one kind of gained a super cult following and being loved by all. But it's definitely
Yeah.
not as popular as the Lost Boys. Like I know when I had mentioned to a group of friends of what episode we were going to be doing first, I was like, "Oh, we're going to do Near Dark." Like I'm really excited for it. It's one of my favorite vampire movies. And the reaction is, "I don't know what that movie is." I was like,
Yeah.
crap."
But that's what I prefer. I've learned over the course of what little bit of podcasting we've done is the obscure is actually goes over really well with people
Yeah,
because
it's
they'll be
more
like,
fun.
yeah, they'll either be like, I've never heard of that. Let me listen to this episode. Or it'll be like, I've never heard of that. Let me watch it. And then I want to hear what these guys have to say about it. So we'll tell you now, if you haven't seen it, you're gonna have a little bit of trouble finding it. Shudder had it for 2 months,
If
and
that.
then they didn't have it anymore. Matter of fact, the trailer I have was it had the Shudder logo at the bottom,
Oh,
but
really?
for some reason, they don't have the movie on there anymore. I had to go through a guy that knew a guy to get a copy to watch. Nate has a Blu-ray, but what that last printing was 2009, something like that.
Yeah, and, like, it shows because like, I remember when I first wanted to see this movie, I didn't see it till I was, like, in my early 20s. It was just
Mm,
like, "Oh, yeah, this is a vampire movie of Lance Henriksen, I need to see it." And, like, I remember going to hunt it down, like, couldn't find it. I was like, "I remember, like, seeing used copies of this DVD, like, at used video stores," back when DVDs were super
yeah.
relevant, and it's like, "What the hell?" So I actually had to, like, pirate a copy back then in order to
Oh,
watch this, and I remember, like, the picture to it was terrible, and it was like, "Alright, this must have been a rip from a VHS or one of those, like, the early DVD days when something was they just converted the VHS to a disc."
yeah.
Like, the first Matrix is a culprit of that, where it's like, oh, like, the first Matrix didn't have good picture until it was, like, re-released on Blu-ray, I think.
Yeah, till they really started realizing that whole, like, THX process that Lucas started
Yeah,
doing and get things
and
better.
then, my significant other and I, when, we started dating, I had mentioned Near Dark to them, and they had never seen it. I was like, "Oh, you have to see this movie," but I can't find a copy of it anywhere, like, without spending, like, $70. So I was like, "I'm
Yeah.
not doing that." Well, my first birthday of us being together, they bought me a copy of it. And I was like, "Oh, hell yeah." And, like, we sat down, watched it, like, that night on my birthday, and I was like, "This is incredible." Like, it's still like, I still love this movie, but with it being the Blu-ray, the picture's a little off. Like, it just looks a little plastic. I don't know
And
how else to describe it. Like, this movie, even from, like, being a cult status, it still has not gotten a proper release. Um
no, and watching it last night, the version I have is the Blu-ray rip, and I'm like, "Man, this is almost too clean." Because I watched it originally on a VHS. I wish I could have done that again because I these movies, this was done in 87. Yeah, 87. They weren't filming these movies for high def. They weren't filming these movies for DVD. This was for theater and eventual VHS release. So things are lit a certain way, things are left grainy to hide things that you're not supposed to see. And this is I think I complained about this on Dark Man when we did Dark Man. Was there's an alleyway scene in that movie that I'm like, you're not supposed to see all that. That kills the mood. And there was a lot of this movie that I'm watching, and I went, I appreciate that I can see certain aspects, but I'm like, you're also killing the mood of this movie that is called Near Dark, was filmed almost entirely at night. There's only a few days that they filmed during the day. Um, that also brings up, that'll bring up another issue I have with this movie later. But
But, like, yeah, like even I just looked up a VHS copy of this is $25. It's like, this movie is well
That's
sought
not bad.
after.
That's
Like,
actually not bad.
it's just
I
one of
need
those,
a
like, unless you find it at Goodwill for the dollar, because Goodwill doesn't realize what they've got on their hands. But
well, here.
even, it's supposed to be getting a 4K re-release, and that was what was coinciding with that Shutter. And then with that getting taken down, I don't know if this is in a, like, legal rights status, kinda like Friday the 13th right now,
Yeah.
where the writer is saying one thing and the studio is saying another of who actually owns it. Maybe that's the
Old
case.
old Mr. Cunningham is throwing a fit about it. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
but also the other thing to remember is it didn't do well in theaters. Movie stores weren't buying 20 copies of Near Dark. They were
No.
buying 20 copies of Lost Boys, 5 copies of Near Dark.
If that, and even
Yeah,
then, how many actually got returned after someone was saying, "Oh, you need to see this movie," and then passed it around at
that
school?
that's possible too, but, I remember when we rented this that, while our stores couldn't afford to buy multiple copies, even of new releases that were popular, so if they got 1 or 2 of these, they were lucky, and that's how I remember getting this. It was, like, maybe 1 copy in the store, and we rented it on a weekend. And again, I remember watching this movie and going, "Wow, that was awesome," because what this movie is great at being is not what you're expecting for a vampire movie. To the
Not at
fact
all.
that they don't use that word in this movie at all.
Nope, it's never said at all. I mean, it's definitely heavily implied of, like, it's this is what they are,
They
but,
they
like,
are vampires, but
yeah. In the 80s, it was like movies were going through a bit of a change between this Lost Boys, Fright Night
yeah,
even, like,
they
of
were trying
doing
to.
a different take. Instead of a gothic Dracula and just, like, dark cathedrals, like,
Mhm.
no, now we're bringing vampirism to the American world.
They
And,
they
like,
were
with the Lost
trying to
Boys being
modernize it, yeah.
yeah, Lost Boys being pop culture, this being a Western. Like, I mean, there are cowboy hats and, like, shootouts at the OK
And
trailer, at the OK Old Motel 6.
I'll say right now, that's probably my favorite part of this movie is this almost Western feel of those type of movies, the almost like a lone gunman going on a quest and then you also have this whole storyline of a family just trying to survive in a world that's they don't age. So they're stuck in their respective eras and they keep trying to have to adapt to the modernization of the world.
Yeah,
Um
and they've clearly been around for a while because there's a moment where they burn down an RV in this. And
yeah,
Bill Paxton's character, Severin, mentions to Jesse, Lance Henrickson's character, he goes, "Hey, you remember that time we started a fire in Chicago?" And it's like, oh man, they're
yep.
responsible for the Chicago fires from, the 1800s. How cool is that?
And they don't they don't really do a backstory proper in this movie. You get little tidbits like the Chicago fire thing. Um, Jesse kind of has the most that he reveals of where he's from because Caleb asks him, "Hey, how old are you?" And he goes, "Well, I fought in a war for the South. We lost." So
Yeah,
he's Confederate, and I'm gonna say if you watch this movie, also watch the documentary on YouTube about this movie because Lance has a backstory for his character, and my
yeah,
god,
like
it's
he got
phenomenal.
fully into character to where, like, um his character Jesse was in a battle on the Chesapeake River, and
He's in
then,
the
like,
Confederate Navy. He's like, I
yeah,
didn't
he's in
want
the
to be a
Confederate
army.
Navy.
I wanted to be a navyman. I'm like, that's
And
awesome.
then, like, his ship goes down and he washes up on shore, and he said it was a vampire harpy that
Yeah, he
that found his body that was dying and, took pity on him and then brought new life into him and turned him into this newfound monster that he has become. And
yeah,
it's like,
and
that's all from Lance's mind. Catherine Bigelow didn't write
no,
that.
no, because he's saying when he told Catherine, she's just like awestruck, like Wow. Basically, I bet she's like, "Why aren't you writing movies or
Yeah,
doing
like
something like that?"
you just like
And
stick in character, which you could tell when watching this movie too, or it's like, I don't think you realize that you're not a vampire, Mr. Hendrickson. Like
dude,
you're just an actor, but like he is so like in character during this entire movie
mhm.
that like when you hear about the stories of what he was doing when they weren't shooting,
Oh, he
it's
stays in
hysterical.
character. He stays in
Yeah.
character the whole production. Off camera, on camera. They said he spent tons of money on his own props to build his character. That's gotta be a godsend for a production company that's already on a tight budget, and your lead actor goes out and goes, "Hey, I bought these really stupid thick acrylic nails and had someone glue them to my finger, and then I broke them off with pliers to give them like, this lived-in bony look," and
Yeah.
he grew out a ponytail, covered it in, tar, which is what seamen did in the Confederate Army, on sea, kind of keep your hair from drying out in the salt, I guess. But this guy went in. He is Jesse. And I know Lance Hendrickson is the reason I rented this movie as a kid because we're already watching Aliens. We're watching Pumpkinhead. Uh, he's in one of the Hellraisers. I forget which one it is. Think it's like
Yeah. It might
3.
be the third one.
I think it's the 3rd one. The 4th one's in space, right?
I think so.
So I think it's number 3 that he's in, and I've loved everything this man's ever been in that I've seen. So we watched Near Dark for Lance Hendrickson. We got the gift of Bill Paxton, but we watched it for Lance.
Oh
Um,
yeah, and I have a funny little story of the one time where I got to actually meet Lance Henriksen at an after party. So this wasn't at like the actual con. This was everyone's already starting to drink, getting the juices flowing and enjoying the Saturday night. And he's just sitting down at a booth with fans, having drinks and having fun. And I have had a couple shots of whiskey at this point, and I'm freaking out like that's Lance Hendrickson. He's just there at the bar. Like I have to go say hi to him. Like I gotta do something. And dude, it turned into like the Chris Farley show from Saturday Night Live where he would have like the celebrity guests on it, like Arnold, and be like, "Remember that time in Terminator when you did this? Oh, that was awesome." I basically did that with him. You have a very drunk Nate just being like, "Oh, you're in Aliens," and I was like, "You're in Near Dark. Oh, you were so awesome!" And then like, and he was just laughing, um, and then out of nowhere, I'm like, "You you did Mom and Dad with Nicolas Cage," which was a movie that came out, maybe a year later or something like that. He's like,
yeah,
"Yeah, yeah, Nicolas Cage is a brilliant man, and I got to stab him, and I got to stab him." And I'm just like, "Yeah, you did. You stabbed Nicolas Cage, and it was awesome." And like, and then he says one of the most sweetest things that a random stranger could ever say to another random stranger, because he asked me my name, and I was like, "Oh, I'm Nate. Still such a pleasure to meet you." And he goes, "Well, Nate, it's incredible that on this day and this time period in life that we managed to stumble across one another and cross paths," or something along those lines of just like we got to meet each other. How incredible is that?
yeah.
And
Our
I was just like,
paths have brought us to this one point type
yeah, like
scenario.
how awesome is it that we get to live in this time period where we get to know each other? And I was just like, oh boy.
Oh man,
And it was just
that's
like, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I need to back away now. Like I am on the ultimate high. So he is like forever has my respect, even from all the movies and stuff. But I'm just like,
yeah,
what a kind, gentle man. Because like when you watch his movies, you get this rough, rugged, like uh, you know, I guess stereotype from him. And like he's the complete opposite of
yeah.
that. Like he's such a kind, gentle soul. And it's just like, ah, you're so lovely. Just God bless the world for having a Lance Hendrickson in it.
That's awesome, and yeah, that's kind of cool because I work a lot of conventions in the area, so I get to meet a lot of these guys, and sometimes they're just tired, sometimes they just got off a airplane, but these guys can turn that on for when fans come around. Um, I just met Vernon Wells a few months ago, from Road Warrior, Commando. Dude just got off a plane. He still had his luggage in there. I know to hold back and give him a chance to settle, but there was people like he was a little late, so they were waiting. He tucked his suitcase right under his table. He got his pictures out. He got a glass of water, and the man was signing autographs and taking pictures within like 10 minutes of showing up at the con. And I'm like, that right there, that's a good guest to have at a show.
Yeah.
You
That
know,
is
he's
what you want at your show. And
and
then what you don't
I
want
see all
is
the little Nates running around though too.
yeah,
You know,
you don't want
oh
the person that's like me going, "We go in, no more talk, we kill," because I know that's what I would do, and I'm like, "Damn it, I know he's just a normal person I need to talk to," because like I've had those conversations
yeah,
with celebrities. Like when I met David Arquette, I had him sign a copy of See Spot Run because I knew
yeah.
everyone was going to have Scream, I knew everyone was going to have
8-legged freaks and all that
Eight-Legged
stuff.
Freaks,
Yeah,
yeah, just like his horror stuff, and I was like, "Dude, I really liked this movie as a kid." And I was like, "I thought it'd be funny just to have you sign this one as like a one-off," and, um, we just started talking about he's like, "Oh, yeah, like, this is, like, the first time someone's brought this up. Like, this is an old one, I did not expect this." And I was like, "Well, yeah," and it was his birthday, I was like, "Happy birthday, like, I sorry that you're
they
spending
love
it
that
here
stuff,
and
man.
at a
Yeah.
con, but thank you for at least, spending that time here," and he was really cool with it, like if you ever get a chance to go to a convention, any listeners out there, like just do it. Like it's a little nerve wracking. It's a little overwhelming at first, but if you don't know what's going on or like how to interact with people, like Adam, just ask like anyone because we all want you to have like the best experience and to keep going and to keep these like growing.
No, that's great stuff, man. I'll tell you
Yeah,
what, man. Let's do real quick. Let's take a commercial break, and when we get back, I want you to do a kind of quick synopsis because you know this movie a little bit better than me. So when we come back, let's get a quick synopsis. We'll dig into some of our favorite parts, and we'll just continue talking.
sounds
So
good.
we'll be right back.
Hey, this is Jimmy Street, host of the Live and in Color with Wolfie D podcast. Hear the life and times of professional wrestler Wolfie D. From his times in the territories with PG-13 to his times in WWE, ECW, WCW, TNA, and more. Nothing is off limits and nothing will be held back. Available now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all major podcast formats.
Welcome to the Monster Movie Stomp Down, where twice a month we review monster movies from all corners of the planet. Join me, Sludge.
I went to watch it the other night, and she's like, "Why are you watching this? You can quote this movie line for line." Like, that's very accurate.
My co-host Mark.
Don't ask me to do a stomp down on this because it's zero.
Okay, dude. Ruben, what's your stomp down rate?
And our brother from Texas, Ruben.
It's just, I'm like, wait a minute. They tricked me into watching this.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. I'm like,
As we give you the history, our review, and the stomp down rating of some of the best and worst monster movies around. Available through the Podbean app, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Amazon. Make sure and check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
Just how drunk are we gonna get?
Welcome to Good Beer, Bad Movie Night, where each month we drink finely crafted brews while watching terrible films in order to see just how drunk you have to get to enjoy them. So tune in and join Troy,
Kilroy Kreitz.
Oh, that was pretty good.
Thank you.
Dave,
I have the weirdest boner,
and Pete. IPAs are ales, meaning they are bottom fermented. Excuse me, they are top fermented. I that up. Try that again. As we drag Kathleen,
Hear me.
kicking and screaming through an alcohol-fueled podcast dedicated to movies of questionable quality and the frosty adult beverages that help make them tolerable. Good Beer, Bad Movie Night. Clearly, it's the beer's fault.
All right, now we are back from our first inaugural commercial break for "Give Me Back My Horror Movies." Um, we'll start getting some like music drops and some fun little things like we do on the action one. But we do have some clips. But let's have Nate give us a real quick synopsis, and then I want to see if I'm correct on my assumption about this a movie that came out later that was probably kind of based on this, at least an homage a little bit. So, Nate, why don't you give us a quick synopsis?
All right. So we have our main character, Caleb, and he falls in love with a girl. Love at first sight almost. And it's our character, May. And like he's having beers with his buddies, and they're like, "Oh, check that girl out." She like walks outside of a bar or something like that. And like he sees her and is like, "Oh, like love to give you a ride home." Like it's just that classic like boy meets girl in the 80s type storyline. And she like instantly lets him know like, "Hey man, like I'm an immortal," but she doesn't tell him. Like she's like, "Look up at the stars. You see those stars, when those fade out, I'll still be around to see those." And he's just like smitten by her, not paying attention to that whatsoever. Um and it leads to like, "Let me give you a ride home." And then she starts to freak out saying, like, "What time is it? Like I need to know what time it is. Like how close are we to it being, daylight?" And he's like, "What? You're like you scared that like your daddy's going to be upset that you're not home yet?" And she's like, "We just gotta go. We gotta go." He's like, all right, we'll go." So then from there, he's driving her back, and like they start to kiss, and then she bites him on the neck. And after she bites him on the neck, she just dips out of the vehicle. She just takes out the truck and runs. And he's like, "That's weird. Okay, a little strange. Don't know why that happened, but no biggie." He gets back in his truck after he realizes he can't catch up to her and starts to drive off. And then as he's driving away, like he's getting sick, he's getting sicker and sicker. And he starts to get to his house because he lives on a ranch out in Oklahoma with his dad and his sister. They then see him because he's now walking in the field. I'm butchering this a little bit, so bear with me. But they see him like walking, and it's daylight now. Like it's definitely at dawn, and he's starting to smoke as he's walking across the field, like screaming for them. And like he is red in the face, like there's so much smoke coming out of him. And then out in the corner, you see an RV just beeline it and cut him off and scoop him up right in front of his family. So his dad just sees like his son, like, man, he's stumbling, like he's falling down, and this RV just comes and hijacks him. And that's where we're introduced to the vampire family, and they're all cussing at May like, "You done messed up, like you screwed up our survival basically here, like you threw a wrench in our plan because now we got to kill this guy. If not, he's going to get us killed because he's a young vampire, he doesn't know how to eat, he doesn't know how to survive like we survive throughout this country." And it just turns into a road trip from hell where Bill Paxton's character Severin is just mean as all get out to Caleb, um, threatening to rip his head off from his shoulders. Like Jesse wants nothing to do with him. They all let May know that this is his problem, like or her problem. Like you're the one that created this beast. You're the one that's going to have to tame it. You're the one that's going to have to teach it how to feed. Um, From there, Caleb has a hard time dealing with like he doesn't want to kill people. That's not what in his nature. He doesn't want to do that to survive. Um, they're going from state to state. He's trying to get away from them, realizes that he can't, that he kind of depends on May because he's not eating. She's feeding for him, and then he's like drinking her blood in order to survive. He does eventually get to a point where he meets up with his family. His new family of vampires is not happy about the old family. They want them gone as well. It kind of turns into like a jealousy feud, like jealousy of them being alive and them being undead. And it turns into like kind of a showdown of the sorts at the very end, I'd say,
Hmm.
between the family and Caleb. And that's kind of just a quick synopsis of it. Because
Quick
when you're dealing
synopses are
with a
fun.
movie with so much like road tripping, there's a lot of set pieces we got to get into, Charlie.
There are. So what I'm alluding to is when I'm I'm watching this last night with Jackie. Um, I can already tell she's a little bored because this movie takes a little while to really get going.
It
Um,
does.
there's a lot of setup. I will say this though, May is amazing in this. The actress Jenny, is that her name?
Ginny
Uh,
Wright is the actress
Jenny
in
Wright.
this.
She's almost angelic from the moment you see her. She's like porcelain skinned, short, kind of pixie cut hair, and she talks in a way that she almost talks like a hippie a little bit at the beginning. Talking about the stars,
She
talking about
does,
when the
but
light gets to us in a billion years, I'll still be here to see it. And you're like, we already know she's a vampire, but you're like trying to listen to it as if you were Caleb. Like that's some crazy talk coming out of
yeah,
this chick.
yeah, that's some real hippie talk, especially for me being in Oklahoma. But the way she like romanticizes the night so
She really
beautifully,
does.
like the way she says the night is deafening. She's like, "Do you hear it? Do you hear it? Like, listen." And
Yeah,
he's just wanting to like kiss her and get closer to her. She's like, "No, no, like appreciate this moment, appreciate the night." Like every
eh,
time that she is talking about the darkness, it is so beautiful. Like it's
yeah.
incredible.
Well, and I'll give it some. I'll give it some credit too because talking about it sometimes gives you an epiphany. I'll e- I'll equate her whole thing there at the beginning with Caleb of that kind of how in the older Dracula movies for Universal and stuff, where he had that like ability to enchant women to kind of almost put them under a spell. Give however you want to look at it. That's kind of what happens to Caleb.
Yeah,
She like
because
she mesmerizes this guy. There's no logic to why he continues to pursue her.
no, it's just he's like smitten by her, and it's the
Yeah,
same way, like you said, like Dracula with Lucy, like Lucy, and she's
right.
just like, I need to know more about this mysterious figure, and it's the same thing with him because she's kind of just a drifter because it's a small town. We both grew up in a small town.
Oh yeah,
You literally know everyone, so if you see like an outsider, it's who is that, and it's just
yeah,
like, what's your story? Where are you from? Like,
yeah.
I
What's your
want to know
deal?
more.
Yeah, and they do that fantastically. And Caleb, I'll go ahead and mention this because I was telling Jackie, I was like, "Does that guy look familiar?" She goes, "He actually really does." And I'm like, "Well, it's because he's Flying Man." And she's like, "Flying Man? What are you talking about?" I said, "Look, Flying Man." She's still not getting it. And I went, Heroes, the show we watched all the time. He was the older brother that could fly, but he wouldn't admit it. He was always denying that these people with powers existed until, here was it Hero? Yeah, Hero goes, "Oh, it's Frag Man," and he saw him fly. I was like, "That's Adrian Pazdar," and that's from now on he will always be Flying Man to me.
And he's
But
done nothing but like TV work after this, it seems like.
well, you know what? You find your thing.
Yeah,
Jenny
there's
has
nothing wrong
done
with that.
Jenny has done nothing after this movie, and she has not
Oh,
kept up with anyone.
I
Well,
have
you
I
found
stumbled upon
something.
a little bit of creepiness with
I
it.
wouldn't call it creepy. Let's call it creativeness.
Creative. So I was watching the documentary on the Blu-ray that Charlie watched as well, and Adrian Pastor had mentioned to it because I'm like, man, Jenny's not being shown like at all in this documentary. I
No,
was like, that's kind of strange. You notice those kind of things. So I started doing some research on her, and in the documentary, Adrian mentions like, "Hey, I haven't seen you in so long, and I hope you see this, and I hope you're doing well, and I miss you." I was like, "That's really weird. Like, why do you say it that way?"
that gave me chills when he
Yeah, because
said
he
that.
kind of got like choked up a bit and
He
watery
did
eyed. And this documentary, guys, is probably 10 to 15 years old at this point.
easily,
Yeah.
easily.
So then I was like, weird. So I looked her up, and she did go off the grid like completely a couple years back, and she's writing a book. I was like, that's awesome. Like she's living like totally off the grid. She has this little GoFundMe of where they need like a new truck to be able to transport their water because they have no power, no way of like getting water without transporting it back and forth. And she's got some updates, but the last update is from November 14th, 2016. And all these other updates she has are about her book, about her restarting the book, her birthday. But then there's just this random update here. And it's the last one. And it says, as I reflect on my experience up on the mountain, I realize I must do more research on the dark art of the necromancy and shapeshifting. There is much that occurred that I don't understand yet. I do know that I laid myself bare to any sort of encroaching evil that might be near. It was a poor Mexican mountain community, and I believe the attacks were not solely human, as perhaps David was a victim as well. How eerie is that?
That you messaged me that, and I'm reading it and I'm going, the heck is that? Like an excerpt from her book? Is that like something that happened to her? What is going on? And then I was like, it's 2016. That's the last update. And he's like, yep. I was like, dude, that's freaky.
Yeah, I did as much digging as I could. I was like, I can't find anything else on her. Um, and then when I was like reading through the other updates, I was like, oh, maybe we're gonna talk about this necromancy and other stuff. Nope. So it's just like I hope she's okay. I hope that everything is fine, especially if you're living off the grid and living with the land. That's
Yeah.
awesome. But what a
Well,
bizarre it's
if you're
almost like art meets reality.
if you're listening to this, Jenny, and you catch our podcast, we'd love to have you on and see how you're doing. So we'll just
Yeah,
go ahead and throw an open invitation out to her.
I would love to know how you've been doing it because I don't think I could do it.
No, I live in a rural place, but I still got internet and all that good stuff, and I don't have to worry about necromancy too often.
Yeah, I don't have
But
to worry about encroaching evil. That stuff is not cool.
yeah, I like Adrian Pazdar. I loved her in this. I mean, they fit their roles well. I before we start talking about our favorites, which is going to be Bill Paxton,
Yeah,
um, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm watching this movie going. There's a certain movie that probably watched Near Dark more than I ever have, and decided to write their own movie. There's a lot of Twilight themes in this, and please don't burn me at the stake, guys. But I've not watched the movies, but I've seen enough of people making fun of it and the covers to the point Nate he'll talk to you here in a minute about how I'm not probably crazy on what I'm thinking is whoever did Twilight watched Near Dark a lot because there's a lot of the same themes going on through it.
oh,
But Nate,
there's no
t-
doubt about it.
yeah, tell them
Because
why we think we're correct though.
when you look on, I'll post it in the group too after this episode's aired. The 2009 Blu-ray cover looks exactly like a Twilight cover. It looks so much like a Twilight cover, and when you
Yeah,
think about the human falling in love with a vampire, just like Twilight. And I do wonder if Stephanie Meyer had watched Near Dark a lot growing up and just kind of romanticized her own fantasy of, well, what if I add a werewolf to this mixture as well?
right.
But then this movie was supposed to get remade right before the first Twilight movie came out when Twilight was being shopped around, and the remake got canned because they're like, nah, it's too similar to Twilight. So in a weird way, the movie that may have, we don't know, inspired Twilight
Yeah,
got canned remake because it was too close to Twilight. And it's just
yeah.
kind of strange, very, very odd of the
But
coincidences there.
I felt better once Nate was telling me that stuff because I was like, man, I know how people hate the Twilight movies, and there's their fans, and they're a rabid bunch. And you know what? I'm not really dissing it. I've not watched the movies. I don't ever plan on watching the movies, but I'm watching Near Dark last night, going, man, I'm getting some heavy Twilight vibes. At least till our favorite stuff starts happening,
Yeah.
and that is going to be the scene stealing, scene chewing maestro of movies, Mr. Bill Paxton. I love his character, Severin. When he
His
comes on,
character is the definition of cool.
oh my God, he is slick, cool, doesn't care what anyone thinks about him, but just has this air of, man, I could hang out with that guy. And I have loved Bill Paxton since day one, since I probably, I mean, you everyone saw him in the first Terminator. He's one of the punks that gets killed. Then we've seen him in Aliens. He was actually in Commando. He was the radar tech in Commando. A lot of the younger generation are like, "Oh yeah, the guy from Twister." Yeah, yeah,
Oh
he was
yeah.
great in Twister. Um, True Lies. He's the sleazy car salesman in True Lies. I love me some Bill Paxton, but
See,
man, this guy stole this movie.
oh yeah, and his like introduction into this movie is right after they kidnap Caleb. He looks him straight in the eyes and says, "Howdy, I'm gonna separate your head from your shoulders. Hope you don't mind none." And just like his southern type accent, and he's got that leather jacket on and like that wife beater that's underneath, and he's
Yep.
got, like you said, that slick back hair, and he just looks
He
awesome.
wears cowboy boots with spurs.
Yeah.
He's just he is cool. And that Nate was we get drops for these things, and I didn't get that one, but it's actually in the trailer. I noticed when it played. Where howdy, I'm going to separate your head from your body. Um, and also at the time we get introduced to Bill Paxton, we get introduced to the entire family, which Lance Hendrickson is Jesse, and um, Jeanette Goldstein as Diamondback, and I forget the kid's name.
The kid's name is Homer, and it's spelled
Homer.
Homer. Don't you forget about it, because he tells
Ah, I
Caleb
forgot
that,
about it.
and that kid creeps me the hell out, dude.
Dude,
Because
that
he
yeah.
could be older than all of them.
Well, they make it out where, from what I pieced together, that Jesse is the oldest, and that Bill Paxton is like the second one because they have a connection, like a brother kind of
Yeah, I
connection.
definitely got like a brotherly love out of
Um,
them too. And then Diamondback
Jeanette,
is more of the wife
yeah, and
to Jesse.
she modeled her character after the actresses of the 30s and 40s. The glamour, that's why her hair is almost white, but there's also um like roots showing. She said, when you're on the move, how do you stay looking glamorous? Well, you use peroxide and you can't always fix it. So she also had a character built in her mind. And she goes on to say that she feels like Homer is like a child of the 50s or 60s, kind of the way he presents himself. And he calls himself an old man in a kid's body,
Yeah,
when
like an old
they're
man
picking on him.
trapped, I think is what he says,
Yeah.
even.
And Jeanette treats him like Diamondback treats him like a child in this movie. She's like a surrogate mother. It's her role, and you can tell there's a little bit of contention there because even for a guy that's probably 50 years old, he's still acting bratty to her when she's trying to get his attention. Like when he's doing the television,
Yeah, I was
and
about to
yeah,
say, like, there's a really, like, it's just so bizarre when you think about
it's
it. Like,
awkward when he's older than he's supposed to be.
yeah, and she's like, "Turn around when I'm talking to you." He's like, "Yes, mother." Like, because he's still trying to like
He's in a
play it
role.
up that he
Yeah,
is, like a child. And it's just the way that kid like presents himself, the
yeah.
way he talks, like it is just so creepy to me. The idea of like a kid eventually outgrowing his age and realizing what he is and like how he can use that to manipulate the world around him.
Well, honestly, I'll tell you right now, when I watched it, I was immediately reminded that there's an episode of the Highlander TV show with Adrian Paul. There is a kid immortal,
Oh,
and he's
really?
roughly like the age of that kid, but he's been around for hundreds of years.
Oof.
And I was like, dude, that reminds me so much because they dig a little bit deeper in how this man has had to live his life as a child for hundreds of years. I'm
Can you
like, that
imagine? It's
no.
already hard enough at our age, like keeping up to what the kids are up to, you know?
Yeah, and
Like,
now you
and
have to
now
be that
you're
kid.
200 years old and have to learn every new generation's TikTok.
Oh my god. I don't even have that app on my phone. That's how old I am and out of
It'll
this.
steal your time. Um,
Uh, I don't have much time left, man, so I can't waste it on that. I do podcasting.
yeah,
It's up
we
and
gotta
up.
watch movies with our time. I'm
But
not sure if
yeah,
you've ever seen it, Charlie, but have you ever seen Let the Right One In?
yes.
Yeah,
The little kid vampire.
little kid vampire. So
Yeah.
it's just like even that I wonder if was inspired because I know that was a book first, like from watching Near Dark, and maybe that Swedish writer is just like, hey, there's a
Yeah.
story here to be told that I want to further look into of like what happens when you're a kid vampire that you need like your a person to hunt for you, then
Yeah,
to
you
get
need
you
you
because
need someone to hunt for you if you're trying to stay hidden.
yeah,
And
and like you need someone that can pay the bills because you need a place to live, and you're gonna have to move from person to person eventually because
yeah,
they're gonna get old and die, and you need to find that next victim that you're not going to bite. You're gonna let them grow old, but you're gonna manipulate them to do your will.
no different than even in the Highlander where he always had an assistant, you know, and they got older and then he had to get someone else to help him with all the day-to-day stuff. So,
And you're just gonna have like a complete lack of sympathy for human life at that point because I mean, you're all gonna die no matter what,
yeah,
except for me, so you're just an
immortality
ant to me.
immortality has to suck. I'm going to just
Yeah.
say that.
I would not like it one bit.
That's not one of those, "Hey, take this pill and you can be immortal." And then, no, no, thank you.
No, that's a
You
curse.
know, yeah. So
Don't need that monkey paw curse.
let's dig a little bit more into Bill Paxton. So the the real one of my issues with the movie, and I don't hate this movie, I actually enjoyed it, is it does take a while to really get going. And okay, so before the Bill Paxton thing, let's talk about they kind of go through a how each one feeds, what each person's shtick is to get a victim. And so we first see Homer, he has a bicycle with him that they're toting around everywhere. And we cut to a scene where the bike's laying in the middle of the road. Homer's face down in the road. It looks like he got hit. You know, a kid hit. Anyone's going to stop. I would stop. Nate
Yeah.
would stop. You know, so this guy gets out of his truck and runs right over to him, and boom, Homer bites and eats him. And so you're like, oh, that makes sense. And then you get Bill Paxton, who has cleaned himself up really well. Nice white button up, you know, cowboy style shirt, you know, the old I can't
Boylan
even,
tie.
yeah, the bolo tie and all
Bolo
this
tie, that's
stuff.
what it's called.
Yeah. And he's hitchhiking and these two girls, college age, I'm gonna go ahead and say because they're driving and they're probably going to a party. He flags them down and he sweet talks basically, you know, in his smooth way, and they're like, "Go ahead, jump in." You don't see anything, but he's in the truck and they drive off. I'm gonna talk about the first thing that irritates me more than anything in this movie was Jesse and Diamondback driving in the next scene, and they pick up what looks like a hitchhiker. No problem. Look, they pass a car, so you're kind of assuming that the car broke down. This guy's walking. They stop, and he goes, "Hey, I need a ride wherever you're going. I don't care." And they're like, "Sure, jump in," you know, because they're thinking dinner time. He jumps in the back, and this other dude comes running around the side and puts a gun to Jesse's head. So it's a setup for a carjacking. Um, and Diamondback and Jesse are just like, you know, okay, whatever. And even Jesse, what is it that Jesse says?
Well, like they pull like a shotgun on Jesse's face, and he doesn't blink or anything. He just calmly looks at him, just like you're not gonna look so good with your face ripped off.
Right. So here's my issue. They cut and we don't see anything.
No, like,
Nothing.
and that's I wonder if it's the budget reasons, but like
I'm
every single time that something was about to happen, it gets cut.
yeah.
Like,
I hated that. I really did. I was like, that was a total missed opportunity because you saw Homer bite the one guy. I was okay with Bill Paxton getting in the car with the girls because I'm sure he didn't kill them instantly. I'm
no,
sure
like
they
he
went
probably
somewhere and
charmed them,
he had
and
fun.
then yeah, but like it's you don't want to show your whole cards all at
No,
once, and I respect that. It's you don't want to show the shark instantly pop out. You want that moment to happen.
but you gave me a character that all of a sudden I don't care if they die. I actually want their comeuppance on screen because the guy's got a gun to Diamondback's face. He puts it down, you know, her shirt because you know they're all like, "Oh, we're gonna have some fun," and Diamondback and Jesse are kind of grinning at each other, and you're just like, "Yes." Okay, no,
Let me
I don't I don't
see
I don't
this
get to see
badass vampire.
anything. Yeah, I saw nothing, and I was, immediately like, "Okay, that pisses me off."
And it's
I
going back and forth between like Homer, Severin, Jesse, and Diamondback, and then even May and Caleb, because May and
m
Caleb are with like the most chattiest truck driver
the
ever,
nicest dude on
who
the
just
planet.
like teaches you how to drive a semi truck for some
Yeah,
weird reason.
foreshadowing for some reason.
Like every little detail of even how to jackknife if you wanted to.
Yeah, that was
Um,
odd. What was
and
that?
like this was supposed to be,
Wayne's World when they go for Mr. Big?
yeah.
Wow, that limo driver had a lot of information. He was oddly specific. Another Chris Farley.
Yeah. Even Hellbound, we mentioned Wayne's World, so that's just gonna happen every episode.
I love Wayne's World, man. That's all there is
Yeah.
to it.
But like that was supposed to be Caleb's first kill, and he
Yeah.
couldn't do it. And May had to do it, and then Caleb had
And
to bite onto May's wrist to just get enough blood to
now
survive.
I'm gonna say this. Cinematography and the beauty of this movie is fantastic. Even that scene, they're next to oil pumpers that, those things you see out in the fields
Yeah.
that are so she is pumping the lifeblood into Caleb. I just saw your face going, "Damn it, I
Yeah.
didn't even pick up on that."
Yeah.
I'm also instantly going, "Well, whoever did Blade watched Near Dark," because that's exactly what they do in the Blade movies when Blade needs a little bump, a little pick me up, as he's always gotten a little bit of blood from either another vampire or the girl from the first one. Um,
Yeah, like in order for her to survive a little bit, it was just like, here,
yeah,
you're gonna need a little bit of my blood. And
he
like,
gives the other girl in the second one, he gives her his blood
yep.
so Nisa can survive. So I'm already getting those vibes, but I was like, I was still kind of like just took back by, I get it. I get what you were saying there with the pumps. And I was like, that was a beautiful shot. I'm still
Yeah.
pissed I didn't get to watch the hijackers die, but it was beautiful.
And
And
like it just in the Blu-ray version, it could look even better if it had a little bit more of that graininess to it.
yes,
You know, if it
I
had a little bit more instead, like we get this weird coat of paint for that nighttime shot.
I
But
will
still
die on
gorgeous,
this I will
but
die on this hill that Blu-ray needs to figure out how to not clean everything. Like, don't put a filter across the whole movie. Sometimes go back and go, "Okay, that was never meant to be that clean. Let's darken that back. Let's
yeah.
put a little bit of grit," because you lose the emotion of the movie. That I get sucked out of it when something's way too clean.
I
Um,
still wish and I guess maybe with just 80s and like you know, 90s as well, but if you had like a 35 millimeter like
yeah,
filter app that
yeah,
you could just turn on or off for those older movies.
yeah,
Cause like I know like with me growing up, it wasn't till like maybe 10 years ago that like 35 millimeter movies weren't being showed in Springfield anymore. They had
yeah.
finally moved to digital. So a lot of like even newer movies I have still seen on film, which is awesome.
Well, I
And
mean,
now I have to go to
there's
like a independent theater in downtown if I want to see anything actually on film that they'll do actual like special like showings of.
yeah, it's only been within like the past 5 years that they've even started filming with the higher end digital 4K
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, a lot of guys weren't ready to make that because you now have to relearn how to shoot a movie. The documentary was great because it goes really in depth with the director of photography, and he's the guy that did Terminator. He's the guy that did so many of these great movies.
And he did a lot
And
of nighttime type
yeah,
movies.
he
So
said
that's
he
why the
loved
shots are
it.
so great is because he knows how to capture with little light
He
sources.
he was able to put light where he wanted, not block light like if it was in the daytime
Yeah.
because everything's lit. And I appreciate that. And that's one reason why I can't dog this movie too awful bad was because it is a beautiful movie. It is a larger budget independent movie, honestly, is what this ends up being. Um, but let's fast forward because we do a lot of the road movie stuff. Let's get to let's get to the Dust Till Dawn turn in this
Yes.
movie.
Because
Is Yeah, go
they
ahead.
need Caleb to feed. So and
Yeah,
it
it's like
turns into
his like
probably
final test.
Yeah, it turns into probably one of the most iconic shots of the entire movie. It's them on top of this hill, just their silhouettes, and you got like the
Oh, I
moonlight
love that
behind
one.
them,
Yes, I
and
love
it
that.
looks so killer. And it overlooks a bar that they're going to descend upon and have their fun and
Yep.
kind of show Caleb the ropes of like, this is how you know, are going to feed. This is how you're just going to have no remorse for anyone around you.
Yep. And in classic 80s and 90s style, they kick open the door, and this is a throwback to the westerns of when they would open up
The
the double
saloon.
door saloon doors, and everyone in the bar stops. And the beginning of some of our favorite, this is Bill Paxton heavy for these next few things we're going to talk about. So here is pretty much when they open the door.
Well, I'll be goddamn. Shit kicked her head.
I, that's the first thing he says when he opens up. He just looks around and everyone's looking at him, and he is happy as all get out.
Right,
And
because he's in a buffet right now.
oh, it's a buffet. And did you see on the documentary why he's acting the way he's acting in this film?
Yeah, because like he wasn't feeling good.
That he was he suffered from migraines every so often, and he was experiencing the after effects still. So he asked the director, "Okay, whoever's the medic, can they give me something?" Well, they, I guess, gave him a huge dose of B12 shot. And he goes, "Whoo, that lit me up good." And when you watch this whole sequence in the bar, you're like, "Yeah, I can see that. He is on fire in this entire sequence."
And like he doesn't miss a beat either, because we all know like vampires can't eat or drink. And like if
No,
you notice, like he instantly walks up to the first bar patron, grabs that man's beer. He doesn't even take a drink of it. He puts the drink onto his chin
dude,
and
I
gets
love
all the
that.
foam onto his chin. And then like he takes a shot, he orders shots for him. He takes a shot, but then he spits it all out onto the
Yeah.
guy.
So he drinks it and then spits it in this dude's face, and I don't know if I could be an actor having someone spit in my face, even
No.
though it's fake. And this guy is familiar to a lot of us action guys. Is he's
Mm-hmm.
the same guy from Terminator 2 in the bar scene when Arnold asked for his clothes. And so, because I'm watching it going, I know
This
that
guy,
guy.
he can't catch a break, man.
No, he cannot. But yeah, he sticks his face he dips his chin in the beer and gets the foam and go, "I ever tell you a story about Buffalo Bill?" And he's cracking jokes. So everyone's on edge, then he disarms them, then they go on edge again, and it's just this back and forth of comedy and terror. And I didn't get the clip for this one because it's very quiet and it takes a while to lead up. Is the waitress is serving Jesse and the rest of the family. So she instinctively, nobody ordered. She has a few glasses on her uh, tray and a few beers. And she goes to set everything out. And Jesse, Lance Henderson, goes, just the glass. And it totally catches her. Like she goes, "You don't want the beer?" No, no, just the glass. And so she's recollecting things, and he's like sweet talking her and kind of puts his arm around her, telling her how soft as a preacher's belly. I
Yeah, that was
didn't
a really
quite
weird.
understand that one.
Not at all.
I guess they're soft as in, they don't work out or they're not tough, I guess.
Or maybe it's
But
because they have no sin that they're soft. I don't
I
know.
guess, and all the while he's doing this, Diamondback, Jeanette, has flipped out a razor blades like butterfly knife and slits the chick's throat, which Nate pointed out, and I agree. They do it, but you don't really see anything. It's like they cut. It was a weird cut.
It's a weird cut of when like the throat gets slit because you don't see it like actually open up. And then it's
Yeah,
honestly kind of hard to tell. And I don't know if it's the way it's shot or once again a Blu-ray issue of Jesse putting that glass underneath her throat to capture all the
I think
blood.
it's just how it's shot because you're
Because
watching Jesse, and he's almost like in this state of euphoria when it happened. You know, he's like just
Yeah. And
sexual
like
but not sexual. It was just kind of weird.
it cuts to so many like bar like all the other bar patrons like face too of like, ooh, like you
Well,
just see their reactions too.
that
And
was
it's
the
just
weird thing. They're watching it happen.
yeah, like no one like does anything. Like it's just so bizarre. They even watch like the bartender before she like gets her throat slit, like give Homer a shot of tequila. Like
Yeah.
it's not even questioned, and it's just like, all right,
No.
this,
Yeah,
you
this
know,
this this kid's like 12 and he's got tequila and beer and all this other stuff. And he ends up smoking later in the movie, which was still weird for me to see.
yeah,
I was like, I can understand movies and it makes sense in the character, but so we see all this. They kill the waitress, and then it's kind of like at that point, all hell starts breaking loose. Um, Severin goes over to this guy at a jukebox, and it's all Bill Paxton at this point. He is just like this guy, like just trying to tell him, like, "Hey, man, get away from me! Don't mess with me." And Bill Paxton's just trying to play it off almost playfully. And the guy pulls a knife out, and he just knocks it out of his hand. And then the guy grabs Bill Paxton by the throat and starts like, you think choking him because Bill Paxton's like going, and then turns his head and starts laughing like it's not doing anything. He's like, and slams the dude back into the jukebox, pulls the neck back, gets ready to bite into his skin, and he's like, I hate it when they don't shave. And then we get the most iconic, I think, line in this movie and straight Bill Paxton, and
oh yeah,
I did grab this one. So he finishes biting this dude's neck, and then this.
It's finger licking good. Hey, Jess, I got smell like a dead polecat.
Oh my god.
so like on point. And then like even he takes a burp after biting that guy, like he just had
That
Dr. Pepper.
it was disgusting, but I love that he did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was I wasn't expecting it because it'd been so long since I watched it, but he already is like grossed out because the guy hasn't shaved, and he pulls his mouth back and goes. "Ugh." I was like, oh god, okay, I see why.
and I love that in the background you hear the Cramps version of Fever
I
just being
love that.
played. It's like, ah, what a great like have a horror punk band as like the background choice, especially for 1980s. Like this was filmed in
Yeah,
86. So that's a deep cut to do. That's
that's
something that can't
that
be appreciated till like the past like 10 years.
that's very Tarantino esque.
Yeah.
How the soundtrack lays into the mood of the scene. You
Yeah.
know, it's just not the mariachi band at Dusk Till Dawn, jamming out on body parts.
Tito and Tarantula.
Yeah, Tito and Tarantula. But uh, and from this point on, it's like all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, uh the barkeep, like he grabs a double barrel, shoots Caleb,
Shoots
and
Caleb in the side,
yeah,
and
Caleb's like kind of freaking out, like grasping for air, but he's fine because
he's a
even though he's
vampire.
changed, I still feel like he's not fully changed. It felt like, like
No, but
because he hasn't ate yet, he hasn't feeded, and then like once again, Severin just like walks up onto the bar, and the way he like holds onto like
there's
the
like
roofing
rafters or
above
the
him.
the, the
Yeah,
drinks that are going, like there's wood structure above him. So
and
he
he just
hangs on to that and then just kick spurs this dude's throat, the bartender.
multiple
And
times
yeah,
you just see his
slices back
face
and forth.
open up and like the blood pour out, and he's just like laughing as he's doing it, just having a good old time as his legs just going back and forth across this guy's face.
Bloody marvelous, bloody marvelous.
It was bloody marvelous, bloody
Bloody
marvelous.
marvelous.
But yeah, but seeing, when he gets done drinking the one dude's blood, he is like covered in blood. You saw clean Bill Paxton for a while, but for kind of the rest of the movie, you get this dirty, bloody Bill Paxton, and it's almost like he transforms without like going teeth and vampire. That's like now it's the change. Now it's the bloodlust.
Yeah, like he just cannot stop feeding at this point. And at this, like,
Yeah.
there's only one bar keep left,
Well,
and they're
they
like, "All right,
have
Caleb,
the
this is your chance. Like, this is your guy," and he
yeah,
still can't do it. And May
and
goes over there and like almost seduces the guy, like kind of just like, "Hey, like pay attention to me and calm down." And that's like
there's
when it
a
hit me that May's like role with the family is her looks. It's her
she's the
way to
she's the
seduce and kind
seducer.
of bring like calmness to the air, because she's
I think
dancing with that patron while everyone is dead.
they call it like a succubus or something like that. They have
Yeah, yeah,
this
definitely
beauty
heavily
and
succubus vibes.
yeah, and there's music playing. And again, this movie I think is important for other movies later because this scene reminds me of the scene in Natural Born Killers where crap, what I can't think of her real name. Um, I
You
want
mean
to say
Juliet Lewis?
Juliet Lewis. I wanted to make sure I was saying that and not the girl from Seinfeld. I don't know why I always get their
Oh,
yeah,
Dreyfus.
yeah. Juliet Lewis Dreyfus, Juliet Lewis. She dances in the diner, and then the other guys are trying to dance with her, and she's the distraction for when
Yeah.
her, you know, Woody Harrelson's character. And I feel like that was taking a little bit of influence from this movie, where she's like the guy's trying to figure out I need to be can I calm down? But I just witnessed the most horrific things I could ever witness.
Yeah, and like
But
I'm next.
yeah,
Like there's
but
no doubt about it. I'm next.
but pretty girl touching me and dancing.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sitting there going, that dude has to have the weirdest boner right now
Yeah.
because
The please don't murder me boner. We've all
yeah,
been there.
yeah. But he jumps out of a window spectacularly. I love that.
Oh, it was a
Like
good window jump
the
through.
s- the second he gets a moment, he is out this window and running beat feet. And Caleb has to chase him down. He catches him, but the guy's like begging, and Caleb lets him
He
go.
just lets him go.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Jesse and Severin are just throwing Molotov cocktails all over the bar. They're, throwing more liquor down, just lighting it on fire.
Yep.
To the point where I was like, I think Bill Paxton actually burned that bar down and it wasn't in the script. Like,
I would have to imagine
I feel like they were just like, I guess we'll just keep rolling. That wasn't in it, but all right.
I think he's still buzzing from that B12 shot, and he's just trying to get every bit of energy out. Um,
Yeah.
and then we get a little bit more road movie. They steal another car because the guy got away, so he knows what they're driving, and they go and stay at a bungalow,
Yeah.
and we get this almost like the last stand at the Alamo kind of feel for this. They're mad at Caleb still, yet he's still allowed to stay there. I still can't quite wrap my
Well,
head.
it felt like that was gonna be his last like day with him, and then they were just gonna ditch him. I think. Like we just need to lie low and get some rest, and then you're out, Mister. Like that's it.
Why
But they
not
keep
just
talking about wanting to kill him, so it's like, why don't you just rip his head off, like you said you were?
well that or leave him outside in the sun?
That's a
D-
pretty easy one. Just lock the
Yeah,
doors.
but they keep bringing him on, and everybody kind of seems pretty chill. Okay, no, that's the next one. So this one is they're all just kind of strewn out. Sorry, in this hotel room, and the cops find them because obviously someone just witnessed them kill a bunch of people, and there was really only one other vehicle they could have driven off in. So
Yeah, and it's
this
like
guy
the
knew.
the dude knew. It's like, hey, that's the guys. That's where they're staying at. That's the ones that killed all my buddies last night.
Yeah, and sorry, I had to give me something to drink. My throat's drying out here. But So the cops show up, beating on the door. It's daytime because they're trying to crash out, and they got them surrounded, which was 2 cop cars and 4 cops.
Yeah.
And one cop has an M16. Everyone else has like rifles and guns and all this. Well, they get everyone woke up. Bill Paxton's character is going around getting everybody riled. They get their guns out. They're trying to figure out how to get out. And Bill Paxton and Jesse just decide, our only option now is to shoot our way out. And the next Bill Paxton scene stealing line, I think, in the movie, 2 of them actually, but this
Yeah.
one, he posts himself up at the very front door and has a shotgun ready. And then we get this.
Check out time.
He blows a giant hole through the front door, blows the cop that's standing there through his chest out his back. I mean, for finally getting a little bit of gore in this movie, that cop's death was. And I love yes, I'm finding reasons to keep. If anyone's asking, that's Uncle Benny from Lethal Weapon 4 during the Novocaine scene where he's on the laughing gas. But you get Bill Paxton, and when he does that, light shines through and knocks him backwards. So it's like
Yeah,
he
like
shot the cop and then he got hit.
he catches on fire on like his torso area, and like now like they already knew it was daylight, but they're like trying to stay behind the curtains while getting into this firefight as more and more
Yeah.
sun rays are just like
Yeah, they've
beaming
got
through.
like blacked out goggles, like welding goggles on, and it's like they're not dodging the bullets, they're dodging the holes that allow sunlight in. That's what they're more scared of because, the bullets don't really do anything to them. So you're looking at this like, this is the weirdest shootout I've ever seen in a movie. And they're just shooting
Yeah, like they're
wild.
not really even
They're not
caring what they're shooting
aiming.
at. It's almost like they're just having fun with it. Like it's just another adrenaline
Yeah.
junkie
And
ride.
even Caleb starts shooting because they give him a gun, and Severin's almost like, yeah, no, and Jesse's like, just give him the gun. What? It's he either dies or he fights. Um, so there's this giant shootout, and then Caleb decides, hey, I'm going to make a run out the back and go get the van. And Severin's like, that you're nuts. You won't make it. You're going to burn up. So he grabs this blanket and takes off running, and cops see him and they're shooting him down multiple
Oh
shots.
yeah, you got like they shoot him in the leg and like just the blood flies from there.
Yeah.
Like he's just getting shot all over. And it's
He
like
starts catching
pure
fire.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
It,
now he catches on fire from the sun, the blanket's
so
on fire.
yeah,
And when that
everything's on
happens,
fire.
the cops are like they are almost like they stop for a minute like, whoa, like that's not normal. Who brought
Right?
the incendiary rounds? Yeah, come on, Bill. You're not supposed to bring the incendiary rounds to a
It,
regular old shootout.
it's definitely not what they were expecting. And then Caleb's able to get in the van, get himself out, being on fire, and rams the van through the hotel room to load everybody up. I did like that part.
Yeah, like that's just like a brilliant way to like get your team out of there. It's just
Yeah, you
like,
can't pull up to the front door, the cops are there, so he
yeah.
literally blows through there, and then when everyone loads in, goes out the other wall. He didn't back up. He
No, he
went
just kept going
through the other
forward
wall and through the cop cars and gets away.
with
So,
his A-team van.
yeah, it was a Ford though, so it wasn't a GMC, but it wasn't all black. It was a nice looking van.
It
I'm a van
was.
guy. I'm a van guy. But I from the bar scene on, this movie picks up, and I love this movie from there because these action scenes are fantastic. Oh, and I do have one more. This is they're in the shootout. Uh, how they just can continue talking and cracking jokes. So
Yeah.
this is right in the heart of the shootout. We have Jesse and Severin.
How you doing, Jess? Like shit. How you doing? I'm down to my last inch of skin.
I'm down to my last inch of skin. Oh my god.
'Cause he's been caught on fire. He's getting shot at. But, like, with these action sequences, and because this is Catherine Bigelow's technically the first movie she's directed by herself. She did another movie a few
She
years
co-directed,
before,
yeah.
but she co-directed it. But this leads up to her later career of doing Point Break,
Yeah.
which is an all-time action
I
classic.
love Point Break.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
and you're getting
We need to
Patrick
do that
Swayze
on the
and
episode
Keanu.
too. Yeah.
That's gonna be one that's gonna have to get covered eventually.
It will. It will.
Yeah. But then it leads to later on in her career, she did K-19, The Widowmaker with Harrison Ford.
Yep.
That was the submarine movie. But The Hurt Locker, like I've only seen The Hurt Locker once because I don't think I can watch it again because it's so intense.
It's a
Like
brutal movie. It
it
is.
is not a fun movie to watch. It like I remember like sweating so much when that came
Yeah.
out. And she won Best Picture that year. And like it's kind of cool to see that a little low budget horror movie filmmaker goes on to make an award winning movie later
Right.
on in their career. Like, just that's
Oh,
where so many people can lead to.
my issues with this movie have nothing to do with Catherine or anything like that. I think it's a culmination of budget and time and just when I watched the the documentary, I really changed my opinion after listening to everyone and what they intended this movie to be. So we'll talk about that more when we rate it. But I take nothing away from Catherine Bigelow on this movie.
Oh, no, not whatsoever. I wish she'd make more movies, if anything.
It sounded like she really did want to get back into this universe, but it just didn't pan out for her.
Yeah.
Thanks, Twilight. One more thing for us to mock you about and hate
Yeah.
you for. So with they get away. We they get out to a random hotel and they get a room to stay in. Everybody's like congratulating Caleb, like, "Hey, man, you did great. You
Like, you might
saved
be
the
a part of the family after all. Like, you
you
might make
s-
it, kid."
yeah, you saved the whole family. You sacrificed yourself if need be." Bill Paxton gives him a spur off his boot. So
Yeah.
that is an ultimate like you're okay in my book, man. Now you just need to kill someone and eat. But yeah, that and I think Jesse even goes, "You've bought yourself some more time."
Yeah, I
He
believe he
calls him
does.
son, and I think that was important that he calls him son before the next thing happens here in the hotel because you're really starting to get this like family unit kind of thing built. Um, so Caleb and May go outside. She does her whole moon gazing thing again. She loves talking about the moon and stars and the dark and all this. And Homer, just I'm thirsty. I'm going to go get something to drink. And Jeanette, in the exact same way she's been this whole movie, she's like, okay, but be careful while you're outside. Be
Yeah,
wary
that
of.
motherly figure.
Yeah. So you're still like, okay, they're trying to keep you in this realm that he's a kid, but then you're shocked every time you have to remember he's an adult. Well, he goes to get a pop, and there's a little girl getting a Coke. And God, I can tell you, I remember the pop machines that had the giant main pop button. If it's a Coke machine, the Coke is like 6 inches by 10 inches
Oh,
big of
yeah.
a
Like,
button.
those things were huge.
You could high five that
Yep.
button and
I
get a
think that
Coke.
was the best part of it was you get to high five it.
You high five the machine. That instantly took me back to go. I know. I remember that. And he starts talking to her as if he was a kid of similar age. He invites her to come over to his hotel with his family and watch TV, see if cartoons or something was on.
But
Um,
she, Caleb's sister's name's Sarah.
yeah.
And when he like asked her, like, "What are you doing out here?" She's like, "I don't have to answer you. I do whatever I want when I
Yes, it was
want."
very
Like,
weird how her attitude was. And yes, it is. You see her face, and you realize from earlier in the movie it's Caleb's sister, Sarah. So you're already at this aha moment. So she goes back to the room with him to watch TV, and everyone's in there playing cards, acting fairly normal. And she's like, "You guys stay up late." And Bill Paxton looks at her and goes, "We keep odd hours." And I was like, "That is great." And so they're sitting there, they're watching TV. They get I remember this. I don't know if Nate remembers it, but network television stopped at like midnight or 1 o'clock, and it would play like the uh the um it was, I don't know if it was Pledge Allegiance, but it would play the national anthem. That's the word I'm looking for. So it would play the national anthem with the flag flying across. And when that went off, TV channel went to static. And no other channel, when you had to flip the knob, was on after that point. And he's like flipping back and forth, panicking, like, oh, we need to watch something so I can keep her here. And she's like, that's okay. I got to go. And Caleb comes walking in. And so they get this little nice reunion, like, what are you doing here? We're looking for you, all this other stuff. And Jeanette had the forethought when the little girl came in going, she's got to have a family. They're going to come looking for her. So she asked the little girl, as a motherly figure for Homer, who are you here with? Oh, I'm here with my daddy. Oh, well, what room are you staying in? As in, we know where you're from. And if someone comes looking for you, we can tell them where you are. In a very
Yep.
normal 80s childhood, you told the stranger what room you're staying in. And Bill Paxton leaves the room to go get who we already know is the dad. And so Caleb's talking with Sarah, and then Bill Paxton comes walking in with his dad. So I'm setting things up for a reason here for my next big, like, yeah, that's a big stretch for me to believe moment. So his dad walks in, Caleb is realizing, oh shit, my family is here surrounded by vampires, basically, that aren't vampires. So he's trying to like calm everybody, talk to, tell his dad, like, Dad, I tried to get a hold of you. You weren't home. His dad's like, we
Because
were looking for you.
now he's in this weird, like, I miss my old family. I appreciate my new family. And he's
Yeah.
kind of like, in a weird way, like torn. But he's also like, I want my sister. Because Homer's doing a very, like, weird, like, grooming almost. Well, he is
Yeah.
grooming.
He's
Of just
grooming.
like, she's mine. Like,
He's
this is going to
wanting,
be my friend for eternity now. Like
yeah.
I've gone this long, maybe 60, maybe 100 years without someone
He,
my age. I want someone my age. And like, it's just so creepy. And
well,
like,
he even says, I want what May got because May bought or bit Caleb.
yeah,
So
so
she
she gets a
got a
companion. Why
partner.
can't
Yeah.
he have one?
And he's stuck as a kid. Why would he bite an older woman?
Yeah.
Because then it would always look odd out on the surface when they were out and about. So in one sense it made sense. In the
Oh
other
no, it
sense
makes
it
perfect
was
sense.
creepy as hell.
Oh yeah.
So Caleb's trying to diffuse the situation, trying to talk Jesse down, like, look, just let him go. Just let my sister go, let my dad go. I'll stay here with you guys. Jesse's not buying it. He goes, they wouldn't do the same for us if the situation was flipped. Um, Caleb's dad pulls a gun, and I love how instinctively everyone like backs up and acts like, oh,
Oh yeah. And
a
then like
gun. Then
and there's
Caleb
like
goes, that's not gonna do anything.
like, that's not gonna trust me, Dad. He's like, what do you mean, son? Like, I know what bullets do. He's like, no, like, really, like, trust me. And like, he
No.
fires off, and it's so glorious because he shoots Jesse in the chest, and then Jesse like bends down and spits out the bullet, and just like, here, you could keep that, and gives the bullet back to his dad, and puts it in his like shirt pocket.
Yeah, he just pats him on the shirt pocket, like, there you
Like, there
go.
you go, bud.
You
Like,
dropped
good try.
this.
Yeah. Think this is the first round that's been in me, bud?
Yeah. So here's my big issue with everything, and I understand movies have to do certain things. Sarah breaks free from Homer, slips underneath everyone because she's small, opens the door, and it is dawn.
It's not,
And
it's like
sunlight is shining through and catches most of them
it's
on fire
1
instantly.
PM now. It's like it went
Dude.
from probably 2 AM when they're at the soda machine to
No,
1 PM.
it went from the channels are going off at, I want to say it was like right around 1 o'clock because you usually had the late show, which always came on at like 11 or 12. Then the channels went off at like 1 o'clock at night. So you're telling me they stood there in a standoff for 4 hours till, we'll give it the benefit of the doubt that sunrise was at like 5:30.
Yeah, it just happened to be
No,
on that day.
no,
Like,
no. I
Yeah.
don't buy that one bit. They set up way too much. Like, if it was that close to dawn, no one would have left the hotel room. Homer wouldn't have went to go get a drink. You guys would have
No.
been locked down.
And
I
it's
call
kinda
bullshit.
where my big complaint with this movie comes is, like, we've now entered the 3rd act, and the 3rd act's a little wonky in
It
this.
is.
Like,
Nope, I
it's a
know where you're going. I'll
little
let you do this one.
jarring. Do what?
I said, I know where you're going, and I'll let you do this one.
Yeah, so, like, it then turns into they steal Caleb back, his dad does, and Sarah, and, like, he's hurting still because he hasn't ate, and they're in the back of the, truck, and Jesse's looking around, he says, "Hey, dad, like, have you ever done a blood transfusion on a human
His dad's
before?"
a vet, by the way. So
Yeah, a
we
vet
get
on the
told
farm.
we see he's a vet early on.
So they go to, like, I don't know if it's their ranch. I mean, they definitely go to a
It's
ranch.
there. It's
Is it
theirs.
theirs?
Yeah.
And they perform a blood transfusion to cure vampirism. And I thought that was a little weird. Apparently, that is something in vampire lore. I never knew that. I'd have to look further into it. I cannot give you a full, definite answer right here and right now.
There's been movies that have even the Blade movies touched on it a little bit about blood, a possibility of a blood transfusion. Then they had like The Cure, the one girl made. And there's been other movies. Um, was it Daybreak or something like that was
Yeah,
one.
that's my one complaint with Daybreakers is the weird. How do they
Cure, The
cure
Cure.
William Dafoe in it?
Yeah.
It's like they put him in the sun to cure him. It's just
It's it's like giving you something and getting you used to it. So they kind of like did it slowly
yeah,
at the time. Yeah. That's a
and it's
good
just
movie, but weird ending. But yeah, this
yeah.
one does that too.
And I get it with vampire movies. It's hard to kind of how do you reverse this virus that a person has gained?
Yeah. You
And
have either he stays a vampire forever, that's
yeah,
one way to end it, or he dies.
that's
That's
pretty.
normally
Like you
how you
get
do this.
pigeonholed into those two scenarios, and from there now you have this issue of he's cured and he's just like all right back to normal. But now he's a human that has to fight these vampires that we have displayed their strength and no mercy for human life.
He goes back home. They know where he lives.
Yeah.
They kidnapped him from his farm. And they're acting like, "Oh, we're the happy family. Oh, we're eating dinner." And
Ain't
I don't
nothing
know
gonna happen.
who eats dinner right before you go to bed.
Right.
Tell me that. Like, they're
Come
eating
on.
dinner, and then she's like, "Okay, I'm done." He goes, "Well, get ready for bed." And then the dad's passed out like 2 minutes later, and I'm like, I can't go to sleep after I eat
No, I
dinner.
have to digest. I have to sit
That's
there.
crazy talk.
And
So yeah,
May
go
shows
ahead.
up at the ranch and like Caleb's like kind of dumbfounded almost. And then he decides to take it upon himself of like, that's it. I'm gonna end this. And he goes back into their local town where Severin's waiting for him. And
Well, they kidnapped Sarah. That's why he goes back in.
that's right. All right.
Yeah.
I butchered that one.
No, but it's fine. Well, she tries to bring him back, not knowing he's cured, till she
Yeah.
hugs him and goes, "You're warm."
Yep.
It's like, oh, there's something wrong, and so he's like, he rejects her. She leaves. Well, he goes in, and they use that as a uh, I can't think of the word. They use that as a diversion. There we
Yeah.
go. So they Homer could capture Sarah. So he goes upstairs. Sarah's gone because the dad's asleep right after he ate dinner.
I will say some dads can sleep through anything. My dad could not. So that's why I could never sneak out of any
No,
time. It was
I
military dad
can
that woke up to every little bump in the night.
I'm the same way. I can hear my kids. But this guy's passed out. Then we get Caleb chasing him into town. So
Yeah.
carry on.
And that's where like now you realize it's a vampire versus a human. And like Severin instantly punches him. He goes flying back, and Severin now realizes like, oh, you don't have the vampire strength
Yeah.
anymore.
Severn
This
doesn't
is gonna
realize he's
be
healed. Yeah.
easy. You idiot. Like, why did you do that if you're gonna come and confront me? All while a big rig truck starts to pull up on these two, and
What?
Caleb goes over to him, over to the big rig. Like he runs to the big rig, like, whoa, stop, stop, stop. Like, you need to get out of here. And the guy's like yelling at him, like, "You need to get off before I mess you up," or something like
And
that.
just starts counting to 5.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm gonna count to the count of 5," and he gets to like 3, and then his head gets blown off, and you
Yeah,
got
because Severance
Severin going
shoots him
bullseye because he
right
shot it right
between the
between the
eyes.
eyes.
And then
And
Caleb jumps into the truck.
because thankfully he met the most friendliest truck driver who taught him how to,
Hey,
do a
remember
big
back
rig
earlier in the movie where we learned how to drive a big rig? Now's
every
why
step
we
of the way.
learned.
So he gets behind this big rig, and he floors it straight into Severin, and he hits him,
Yeah,
and you
Sever
see
just
the
stands
body.
there.
Yeah, you just see the body disappear, and he's like, "All right,
He's
one down. Like
celebrating.
I did
He's
it.
like,
Like
"Woohoo! Yeah, we did it. Yeah, I did it. Yeah." And then in great 80s 90s glorious action, the bad guy comes crawling up onto the hood of the truck.
reappears, and he like
Straight from Road Warrior, straight from every movie that had a big rig truck in it. Bill Paxton pops up. And let me say, I want to say, now's where the budget was spent on some gore.
yes, yes, it was. And the funny
This
thing is, in my head, this scene of when Bill Paxton pops up and his whole face is like covered in blood, and like his jacket's covered in blood. In my like memory for this is like, oh, that's like 20 minutes worth of the movie. He looks like that. But no, it's
that's
not. He only looks like that for like 2 minutes.
because that's what they used for the marketing. That was the original cover on the VHS was the Bill Paxton with his head split open and like 90% of his face is covered up in gore and he's like charred and the cover on the VHS there was actually holes through him and there was
Yeah, yeah.
light shining through.
So like that's just in your memory. It's ingrained of like that's
Yeah.
what he looks like most of this movie. It's like no, no, he doesn't.
That's what I
Except for this
remembered
scene.
most and that's why I remembered like I did love this movie. Yeah, let's do this movie because I remember that this movie's badass for like 10 minutes.
And then like Severin starts punching into the hood and just starts
Yeah.
pulling at every little thing inside that rig's engine to get it to slow down.
He's
And
pulling
meanwhile,
wires that don't exist.
yeah,
There's a point where it looks like he gets burnt or shocked because he pulls his arm back real quick like a jerk. And I'm like, I'm sure it was a prop thing or something, but I'm thinking like he touched something he wasn't
he
supposed
touched
to.
something that was hot and went, "Ooh, nope, nope, nope." So Caleb starts to realize what's happening, and because that friendly truck driver before who taught him how to
Thank
jackknife a
goodness
truck,
for that guy. Yeah,
thank
yeah.
goodness they decided not to eat that man when he was explaining stuff. Um, he jackknifes the truck, and you get this giant explosion that just like he tucks and rolls out of it. The truck
Yeah.
jackknifes, it blows up,
Yeah. Caleb jumps. Bill Paxton's
and
still attached to the front like the dude from Mad Max Fury Road when he rips the top of the engine off.
yeah,
And it
exactly.
still crashes with him on top. That's what happens here, and it blows up. And
And
a
Severin's done
spur
for.
goes flying and lands in front of Caleb, which I like that part too.
Oh yeah, when the spur like landed, it was like what a classic 80s moment to have happen. That one character defining piece is what
Yep.
lands in front of him.
He has the other spur still, so he's like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
now I got a whole
Now I got
set."
the whole set. Now I get to look cool.
And then like
Meanwhile,
yeah, after that,
you
the
have
yes,
Jesse and Diamondback and Homer. Um, they still have Sarah at
yeah,
this
and
point,
May's in the car too.
and May is as well. And they pull up to the fiery scene. They realize that Severin's gone, and there kind of becomes like another weird like standoff at this point. And Sarah escapes from hitting Homer on the head with a flashlight that he reacts to,
Yeah,
which was so weird because I'm like, he's a vampire. Like he got hit in the head. He goes, "Oh, ow!" And then like she dips out of the car and gets to Caleb's arms. And then May is trying to diffuse the situation now, much like when you
yeah,
had Caleb with his family and new family of like, hey, like, please don't. Now you had this situation occur with May, like, please don't hurt him. Like, I want to be with this person. And Jesse's just pissed because now at this point, like, you've been a thorn in my side. I've let you live for far too long. You just killed my brother. go to hell. Like I
Yeah,
want nothing to
he's
do with
done.
you.
He's ready to kill.
Yeah. And Diamondback's like found her way behind him and she's about to throw a knife. And when she does, Caleb ducks and it goes into Jesse's mouth, which is a great bloody shot. But then
It really
Diamondback, for
is.
some reason,
It's bloody marvelous.
it was. Diamondback then tells Caleb to run.
I was so weirded
Like
out
now
by
she's
that.
suddenly on Sarah's side, and they run and they take back off to the ranch again.
Well,
And when they do that,
they
it's now
run, but Jesse still tries to shoot him.
yeah.
So it's like, was Diamondback just giving Jesse the kill, even though she's like 8 inches away from him with another knife?
Yeah, like she had the other knife in her hand.
Yeah.
And when they get back to the ranch, it's like, all right, we're back here again. Why?
He's running, carrying her across the field like he was running back home at the beginning of the movie. Um, and he falls because he's tired. He's been fighting
Yep.
everyone. Tells her to run because, you know, obviously she would be faster than him carrying her. For her yet to get kidnapped again. They grab
Like
her
she gets
again.
kidnapped again, and then like once again she slips out during like the
Well,
big car chase.
May grabs her and jumps out the back window of the
Yeah,
station wagon. So she tucks and rolls with Sarah and keeps her from getting too bad hurt, sends her off to run. She's running. Homer loses his ever loving mind and
because he's
goes
like,
running.
she's mine.
Yeah.
She is mine, and like he just dips out of the vehicle.
And it's
Like
full daylight now. It's full,
yeah,
like, Diamondback and Jesse are trying to, like, block some of the sun. They've got blankets on themselves.
they got the
Homer
aluminum
takes off
foil they've been
running
putting
like
up.
he don't care. And so he's running towards Sarah, bursting into flames. And again, awesome effect for 1987.
Oh,
Awesome
it's
effect on
great.
VHS. When I watched it on high def, I went, "Oh, that's an overlay."
Where you can see
Yeah.
where they literally copied like a fire and then
Yep.
paste it onto him,
It
which
it it
clever
was like,
editing for back in the day, but
and I'm
it's
if
something
I
that gets
again, it gets
you get to
lost.
see it better when
Yeah,
it's on
it
high
was
def.
never meant to be seen in high definition.
No.
And then we figure out, while Severin blew up in a truck because it was a gas truck and it blew up, we now get the realization that when one of these little SOBs die, they explode.
Oh, it's like C4 goes off. Like he's
Yeah,
screaming, he's in like
he's in
covered in
agony.
flames
Yeah.
and like yeah, he's in pure agony and it's out of like pettiness almost of him chasing them down. Like
Yeah.
he realizes that I'm going to die anyway, but I still want to take one of them out with me at least. And like he just explodes into this big ass fireball.
Yeah.
Just giant ass fireball.
And Jesse and Diamondback see it. They're
Yeah.
driving towards Caleb. Instead of saving themselves and just saying like, cut our losses, let May go.
Yeah, no,
Let's
it's
ride
because
off
of a
into the
pure
sunset.
grudge. They could not let the grudge go. And the
No.
sunlight's just burning through the car because they didn't get the aluminum foil and like the spray paint on every window in time.
Nope.
And like you see them just slowly like
They
catch
Thelma
on
and Louise
fire.
this bad boy. They hold hands
Yeah.
and just drive straight till they burst into flames.
Yeah. And the
The
whole car just
car,
bursts into
yeah,
flames. Like the
the
door
car
pops
runs
off.
off the road, and pretty awesome explosion. I can see where the budget did go, and there's nothing left of this car, and they boom. And Caleb grabs on. Like, this whole time May is running, and Caleb wraps her up, and he's taking his jacket off while he's
Yep.
running, and like covers her up best he can. Now we get back to your favorite part again.
We get another successful blood fusion.
They blood transfuse her, and
Yeah. And
how
now
do they
she's
know
back
it
to normal.
works? They open the door in the morning and sunlight shines in as she doesn't burst into flames.
And then they kiss and then the movie is that's it. It's wrapped, folks.
Wow.
But like we mess up even trying to tell you all it happens because like it just feels like you try to get maybe 45 minutes worth of an ending into 15 minutes.
It
So
it
you're just like boom, boom,
constantly
boom.
it restarted and restarted and restarted. So the beginning of this movie is, I'm sorry, painfully slow, very painfully slow for me. But I also love my action movies, and let's get to the point. And I not every horror movie is like this either. This is definitely different from everything we've probably watched
Oh, it's like
growing up.
honestly one of the first of its kind of being like
This is
a
an art film.
Western non-gothic vampire
Yeah.
movie. Like,
I
yeah.
think anyone going into this movie, we're going to tell you right now, go into it as it's an art film, as an independent, someone had a vision, it's visually stunning, the stuff that works, but do not go into this thinking it's this blood and guts action thrill ride or this. There's nothing scary in this movie at all.
Yeah, there's nothing of like vampires and constant shootouts because it's a Western. Like that's not exactly what we mean. And it's
No,
not
this
exactly what we
isn't
mean
Dust
because
Till
it happens
Dawn.
to take place in Oklahoma. Like,
Yeah.
no, like it's very much like an old school Clint Eastwood movie where you just get character development and you kind of get like your action pieces aren't until the last 10 minutes where he,
Yes.
gunfights the whole town or
Yeah.
saves the village or whatever you want to say. It's definitely one of those. It, like you said, definitely independent, like a character piece almost drawn out of like, what if you were this creature that was just trying to survive night by night, and
Mhm.
also you're just traveling across the country and you get a fork in the road by having this new person, new
And
blood thrown at
I
you.
I think give this movie 10 more $1,000,000 in the budget. Give this movie the ability to leave its confines of probably, what would you say? We're in about 100-mile radius that this movie happens in from the farm.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
they
they at
don't go
least
that
traveled 2
far.
states over, I think, at some
Yeah, but
point.
when you're in Texas and if you lived at the top part of Texas, you could be in Oklahoma pretty easy.
Yeah.
Um, it doesn't feel like they travel very far because we also get the far-fetched thing that they happen to stay at the same hotel that his dad and sister are staying at,
Yeah,
and
so
I'm
it's
like,
like they clearly haven't gotten too far if his dad
I
and
would
sister.
I would have been more believed had there been circumstances that the dad was following and fit and got kinda got on their trail better, and it was explained and, like, drove past and maybe caught a glimpse of him, like, walking outside at night, and that's how they interacted.
Yeah.
I didn't
Especially
like that.
for back then, like, you have to be really good at tracking, of knowing your
Yeah.
roads, because, like,
So
I know if you're to, like, "Alright, Nate, I want you just to get me to, let's say, North Carolina right now without using my phone, I can make it to Kentucky."
give you a paper map and see how well you do too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's I had to do a lot of map going when I was in Ohio. We didn't have the GPS or cell phones, so I had a map book of all of downtown
My
Columbus, and that's where we had to.
anxiety would have killed me. I would have just died of a heart
I
attack.
learned how to get lost in Columbus and find my way out, and I can still get out of Columbus. But no, I think this, while the charm of this movie is due to its budget constraints and how they were able to work with what they had, I love it. But if I wanted a better movie, it needed more budget. It needed it needed those moments to grab you. And I'm still saying, killing those uh hitchhikers, I needed that moment to see the brutality of Jesse
Just see
and
what we're dealing
Diamondback.
with.
I needed that because he's all talk in the movie. Um,
And he's very frail, so it looks like he's a person that doesn't even, like, eat often, like, Lance,
I mean,
like, deliberately lost weight on purpose to give him that frail Confederate soldier look.
if we disregard the shootout and the possibility he shot a cop, he doesn't kill anyone in this movie.
Yeah.
Well, that
I
we
mean, he doesn't
see,
even, like, kill anyone that we know of, not even
he
at the
doesn't
bar.
he doesn't feed.
No.
He doesn't take a drink out of the glass when the barmaid dies because Diamondback killed her.
Yep.
Homer kills the other guy. Severin killed the other ones. The other guy got away. We only see the hit the the would be car thieves.
And we just
Um,
don't know what their fate is. We know they died, but maybe
we
Diamondback did it.
we see the shootout. He goes and stays at the hotel and he has a conversation with the guy that runs it, the innkeeper. And
Yeah. book me a reservation 50 years from now because the
Yeah,
innkeeper's
but
like, you look familiar.
have you been through here before? And he goes, yeah, I try to get through here every 50 years. Book me a reservation. And I
Yeah.
was like, I dig that, but doesn't kill anyone, doesn't drink any blood. And I'm supposed to believe this is the leader of these vampire badasses. Homer is more brutal than he is because Homer
Yeah.
shoots the one dude in the back. He eats the dude out of the truck. I'm more believing of that guy than I am. Now, I loved Lance Hendrickson's character in
And
this
that's the
movie.
thing. It's because Lance like sells it. That's why I don't think you could remake this movie particularly
No,
because no one else would go to the dedication and to the lengths of staying in these characters like he and Bill Paxton did
yeah, we
to
don't
this
have
extent.
those method actors
Yeah.
anymore. I'm sure there are some out there, but these guys immerse themselves in these roles. They were these characters till the camera stopped rolling. Um, and again, I love it for every bit of that. So let's we don't have sound drops yet, so we're gonna jump into. I normally do body count on action movies. Nate and I are starting out with what we want to call for now the raining blood segment, and that's how many people have died in this movie. And we're gonna find out that horror movies usually don't have body counts like action movies do. There's not hundreds of dudes getting shot. There's usually like the teenagers that die, maybe a couple cops, and then there's the chick that lives at the end.
If we
Um,
cover anything that has like upwards of 20, I'm going to be shocked.
we'll have to do movies like Ghost Ship, like
Yeah,
where
where like the
everyone on
entire
the
fleet gets killed.
everyone on the deck that when the cable comes through,
Yeah.
those are all on screen kills,
But I
or
can't think off the top of my head of any horror movie where it's like, oh yeah, 72 people get murdered in this. Because even like in the Friday the 13th movies, I think the most that get killed is like maybe 18. I'd have to go
I
back and
I think
look at
someone
that.
posted the other day. There's like the cumulatives that they've done, and he's only like in the hundreds for like Jason.
Yeah,
Michael
like
is like in the 80s. Freddy's in the 80s, something like that.
yeah, like
And
it's
that's
and that's across the
all
entire
their movies.
franchise.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like even like the Saw movies, it's like, all right, like A, if you want to look at Jigsaw's technically never killed anyone, but B,
no,
there's only like 5 traps in a
right.
movie, if that. So
Arnold wipes out more people than that just trying to get to the main bad guy.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
he's got a body count of 100 before he even get to the second act. But nope, our raining blood on this is 11 kills. And it makes sense. Like we've just went over like everyone that they kill and then you have to add in the few cops that
Yep, and
die,
then it's like
then themselves, you know.
50-50 on like what you see on screen, what you see off screen. And then yeah,
Yeah,
like you're talking about the entire family. That's 4 of them, 4 out of the 5
yeah. So,
die. So,
that's counting the 2 girls we don't see die on screen, and we're
yeah.
counting the 2, carjackers. But it's 11. So, I mean, decent for a horror movie-esque, just nothing like the actions. But, so our next segment, we have our patron saint Al Leong on the action movies, and that just seems to stick. So me and Nate were brainstorming, like, who would be our patron saint of horror movies? Because Al Leong was always that guy you saw in movies, but sometimes wasn't named. So, we're not going to have like the Freddy scale or the Jason scale. But I
No, we didn't
mentioned,
want to do that because that just
no,
feels too forced and
yeah.
not fun,
So
honestly.
I mentioned Machete, old Danny Trejo, and Nate's like, okay, I dig that because Danny Trejo's been in probably same amount of movies, always somewhere. And I also put it as there's a lot of horror movies that involve machetes of killing people, not just Jason. There's plenty of other movies with machetes.
Of someone
So
getting hit with one.
yeah, so we are gonna do the machete scale of 10 because we feel like 10 gives us a little bit more wiggle room than the 5 does. We learned that on the action. So Nate, why don't you go ahead and hit me with your machete rating of Near Dark?
So it's funny, like I wrote down like my top 5 vampire movies in order. And when watching it, I was like, oh, Near Dark's number 1. Like I already know that before I, watched the movie again. I was like, it's Near Dark. It's got Bill Paxton, Lance Henriksen, obviously, duh. And then, like you said, like as upon rewatching it, and then like as I was taking notes and stuff, I was like, I always remember like the third act feeling a little rushed, but like this time around, like it just really fully clicked. I was like, man, like if only you could have padded out more, because this movie's only like an hour and 32 minutes long.
Yeah.
So if you could have made it like an hour and 45, it wouldn't have overstayed its welcome, and it still would have gotten maybe that third act padded out and not as rushed.
Mhm.
Um, and then same thing, like the weird editing at times, which I don't fault Catherine Bigelow at all. Like I think it's
No.
just budgetary restrictions. They were shooting at night, and technically, even though this movie it looks very summery, it's a winter movie. Like they filmed it during a very cold season. And if you go to the desert at night, it's cold. Like it is. So you need a hoodie. And these actors are in like sleeveless shirts and stuff like that. And except for
Yep.
Bill Paxton, he was smart being in that leather jacket. Uh,
Oh
but
yeah.
it was just stuff like that was really like nagging at me. And I went from like, man, our first movie, I'm gonna instantly have like a 9 out of 10, maybe even a 10 uh machetes. And upon looking at it, I'm like, yeah, this might actually be like a 7 out of 10. And now like because I think a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, Hannah and I had just recently rewatched Lost Boys before we had even picked this movie.
Mhm.
It's like, God, there is a reason why Lost Boys stands out so much, because it is a damn good movie. So is Near Dark, but like Lost Boys doesn't have a lot of those faults, and it probably is budget reasons. Like I didn't look into what its budget was and stuff like that, but
Well,
you
it
also
it had
have
a major studio behind it, so
it
I'm
had a
sure
major
it was high.
studio behind it instead of like this being independent and then a major studio just, putting it out there. And y- I would argue that the talent level behind Lost Boys is pretty equal to Near Dark. Like, it's a well rounded out. I mean, you do get both Corys when they're at the top of their games equally.
Yeah.
You get young Kiefer Sutherland, who is still like he was making a name for himself at that point, and like
That
went
was
all
on
out.
his uptick. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you get Alex Winter in like a role that should have been so much more, but still.
But he still stands out. He stands out more than the other guy, which I
Oh
don't even
yeah,
remember
because you
that
just look at it
guy's
and go,
name.
ah, cool, Bill and Ted, sweet,
Yeah.
you know.
It's Bill.
Yeah, and so like when I was looking at this and just seeing how it all goes, I was like, man, this is actually more like a 7 machetes out of 10. I'd give it. Like it's still really high up there for me.
Yeah.
Um, it's still within my top 5, but now I'm like, when we were originally pitching this podcast, we were pitching it as just strictly action horror.
Yeah, we had an original vision of let's just make it like a part of the other show, and but we go in the darker because as
Yeah,
Dan has stated, he doesn't like horror movies. He doesn't
no,
really watch, and I knew if I put him through enough watching some of these canon films and stuff like that. So, and you heard him on Hellbound that he blew me away that he even rated it what he did.
I know.
Um, so it was like, let's do movies that are action horror based, and there are a lot. But when we started the Facebook group, we
It
kind of
just blew up into all horror. And like
yeah,
when I was making my action horror like list, I was just like, I probably could name like 10 vampire movies, it felt like, because there's something about the vampire genre that you can turn into guns ablazing, like Dust from Dusk Till Dawn.
from Dusk Till Dawn, vampires,
Yeah, exactly.
and
Uh
yeah, and Near Dark was on our list when
yeah.
we had probably 60 movies listed as stuff we could pull from. So it wasn't like there was a lack of movies. It just turned into maybe one day we want to talk about Jason. Maybe one day we want to talk about something that heavier on the horror than action, and we didn't want to like pigeonhole ourselves to that. So it's like if we did it just as a horror show, we can still do action horror related.
And we
Um,
still want to do like the popular ones, and we want to do like stuff like this for Near Dark, where
yeah,
either myself or Charlie, we can mention it to our friends and be like, oh, that one doesn't ring a bell too well, or B, I know of that movie, but I haven't seen it. Like Charlie said, you haven't seen this in 15 years.
that's was when I was asking friends if they had this. Everyone's like, "Oh, I love that movie. Oh, I remember that movie. I don't have it, but man, I remember liking it a lot. And so it ignited something in everyone, which I was like, well, that's good because that means we picked a good one to do a podcast on because there's nothing more I hate than doing an episode of something and then you go back and like search that movie on your podcast app and there's like 20 other shows that did it and then some of them are like only a few months ago, so you're like, I want to stand out a little bit more above the crowd than others, and
We
sometimes you got to dig deep to do that.
we want you to have this podcast as an opportunity to kind of go back, remember stuff that you have fond memories of, and not be it to where, like, as much as I would love to do Psycho Gorman, it's just like there's probably 15 other podcast episodes about Psycho Gorman right now. So,
Right. That's one I
and
would.
I don't want to, just get lost in the shuffle, as to
Right.
say.
I would rather shine light on movies that are maybe more forgotten, which is a perfect little segue for us to go. We have picked our Halloween episode, which is next month.
Yes.
Um, and no one is expecting this. Our regular guys that are kind of, we have like a little brain trust of our, well, Dan and I, well, you'll just have heard that we announced it on the last episode of the action. We've started a podcast network. Um, so we have the action, the horror, we have good beer, bad movie night, we have monster movie stomp down. We have other shows coming up, live and in color with Wolfie D, a wrestling show. Um, Everyone I talked to and shared the movie that I found was all like, I didn't even know that existed. Or one guy was like, I vaguely remember seeing it on like a cable channel 20 years ago, but I don't remember it. So we have the Halloween one, and it is not what anyone's going to expect.
No. And like when Charlie had like sent it over to me, I was just like, how's this like never popped up on my radar?
Yeah.
Like of all like I do random like Google searches all the time when I'm like looking for something for like Hannah and I to watch, whether it be like bloodiest movies, goriest
Hmm.
movies, different like monster movies, or like what has a lot of Nazis getting killed in it that's a horror movie.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the stuff that I'm like always like doing a Google search for. And like I realize that my poor FBI guy is probably wondering sometimes, what is Nate up to today? But that's just this
Yeah,
one. I'm
but
like,
you
how did
you
it not
didn't
pop up? How?
you didn't Google how to disarm C4, so I'm still on a list with
Yeah,
the
yeah, you're still on
DO,
a list
DOJ.
somewhere.
Um, but go check out the Blown Away episode if you don't know what we're talking about. But yeah, I have gotten pretty good at digging deep, and once you start doing this, Google figures out that you're looking for stuff, so it'll recommend weird stuff. And I found this one because someone in the movie had a birthday, and an Instagram account I follow was like, they do like a birthday post, and it showed like clips from 2 or 3 movies they had been in, and one picture I went, I don't know what that is, but I need to look that up. And I sent that picture to everyone, and they're all like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, we're doing this because it's going to be a. This is literally going to be one of those like Hellbound. None of us have
Yeah,
seen it,
we're going in blind.
so it could be it could be terrible. I don't care because of who's in it and what it's about. I'm like, oh, we have to, and it's another good bridging episode for the horror and the action stuff. But
Yeah, it'll be a good one because we definitely want to get two out in October because of Halloween.
yeah.
But one of them will be the action, one will be the horror.
Well,
But the action will still be horror themed.
let me go ahead and give my machetes. I won't drag on. I think I've mentioned most of the stuff I didn't care for and I did care for. I will go into this as when I picked it, I'm like, Nate, this movie was probably an 8 or a 9 in my memory. I watched it. The movie probably got down as low as a 5.
Ooh.
Then I watched the documentary, which I got to see what everyone's mindset of making this movie was. And that did impact me because I went, oh, that makes sense. Oh, I understand what you were going for now. I can't, forgive the lack of the kills I wanted to see. I can't forgive how slow it started, but I'm not dinging it because it reminded me of Twilight because this movie came before Twilight. It's just a product of the movie, but I am giving this movie a 6. It's going to be
Okay.
6 machetes. And I'll take one thing you did say about I think the time of the how long the movie was correct, but I think you needed parts that were in the second and third act somehow intermixed into the slower beginning act. Like I needed to see something that this like show me the family feeding that whole montage leading up to them kidnapping Caleb. Like
You could have done like what
like when
other
when
horror
May
movies
took him.
do, where they have like the iconic like here's the monster right at the beginning scene, and then
Yeah,
it leads to Caleb. Like you just see like all right, here are these monsters, and then lead to Caleb.
because it would have
Um,
worked out great because you start the movie with May being out by herself. So this would have given you the reason for her to be out feeding and what the other family members were doing at the same time. So you could have saw Homer setting up someone with the bicycle. You could have seen Bill Paxton luring girls in, and Jesse and Diamondback going after just some ne'er do wells. I needed something to hook me in the beginning of the movie, and there wasn't anything. They were too busy building up the love and romance between Caleb and May, also while trying to give us a reason why his family's looking for him. And it's like I said, the second the bar scene starts is when the movie takes off.
it's kind of like that's when the movie really finds its voice.
And there'll be people that'll be like, "Well, that's exactly what Dust Till Dawn did." The difference is Dust Till Dawn gave me an excellent road movie before the strip club. There was tension with these two psychopaths kidnapping a family in an RV trying to get across the border. You had the wild card of Tarantino's character. What is he going to do? How's he going to mess things up? Especially like the woman that was in the trunk, and
Yeah, from the
how,
bank.
yeah, from the bank, and then how George Clooney leaves him alone for 2 hours, maybe, to go get
Yeah,
food and to make a phone call to that grisly scene that how Tarantino did those quick cuts could have been done in Near Dark to save with budget, but give me Jesse as a badass because that's what I wanted. I needed more badass from Jesse. That's
and we
that's
don't
my
even get a
complaint.
sequel to get that
No,
badassery, and we can't
nope.
get a prequel.
Twilight screwed it all up.
Yep,
Damn you,
blame
Twilight.
Twilight. At the end of the day, that's what ruined Near Dark for us was Twilight.
Yep, we blame Twilight. This would
Yep.
have got rated higher except for Twilight.
Yeah,
So
if it wasn't for Twilight. Last night too, this is completely off topic. We
that's
went and
fine.
saw Midnight play at Ace of Cups here in downtown.
Hmm.
And who would be in front of me? Like you're a tall guy, and
Yeah.
here's the tall guy that's gonna be in front of people. It's just like, there's that big dude that's in front of me. I get Jacob from Twilight in front of me. I kid you not. He had the long hair, looked just like him. Just
Oh my
like
gosh,
of all the people, I get Jacob in front of me. And
Jesse,
he's drunk as hell, and he just eventually stumbles out. I'm like, right on, dude.
it's awesome. All right, man. Well, I think we've done what we can with Near Dark. We're a little over 2 hours, so
Yeah, I
this
mean,
is
this
what
went longer than the
happens when
movie
you.
itself.
This is it happens, man.
Yep.
I can talk about movies. I'm more apt to talk about action, but we both love horror movies, and so obviously we got a lot to talk about. So we'll just wrap this up, and we'll do our just stay clicked in on this. If you're not into horror, you can skip these episodes. No
Maybe we'll
harm,
do
no
something that
foul.
piques your interest, though.
Yeah, you never know. There could be a horror movie you like, and you'll click on it and listen to it. But don't worry, the action movies will still keep coming. What we're trying to do is have content for you to listen to on a weekly basis, if not more. So if anything, we're trying to give you more of what we're doing. So
And it's enough content to kind of cover this broad spectrum to where there's gonna be something that's gonna, be like, "Oh, I like that. Maybe I don't
Yeah.
like this one, but I like that one, and I can cover it." Definitely join the Facebook groups if you have not already, whether
Yep.
it be
Yeah.
"Give Me Back My Action Movies" or "Give Me Back My Horror Movies." We have lots of discussions going on in both of them every single
Oh, dude,
day.
it's super active. There's people
Yeah,
are
there's
doing stuff all
constantly
the time.
and it's not just like myself, Charlie, or Dan posting in these. It's the actual like just members
Members.
of the group posting. And today we had a really awesome post of someone saying, "I want to get my 6-year-old into scarier stuff, but
Oh, that's
I
my
want it to
friend
be
Autumn.
introduction."
Yeah. That's
And it was awesome because then it just brought up like I was like, "Oh, Gremlins, the first Goosebumps movie," like, and everyone just started pitching in like different, um,
it made you
you know,
think.
yeah,
You had to think like, okay, what would I introduce my kid to at that age?
yeah, because you're
And
not gonna be like, "All right, little one, 6-year-old, here's Hostel." Like, you're not gonna
here's
do that.
Hellraiser.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do
I
that.
mean, we might
No.
have done that, but that was on accident, and it was on HBO late at night or something,
Yeah,
or my Nana taped it on
our parents weren't
VHS
doing
for
that.
me.
Unless you were my friend's parent that put Chopping Mall in for the 12 and younger kids
Here,
to watch
yeah,
during
just
lunch. Um, so yeah, check us out on the Facebook group, Give Me Back My Action Movies. Also, Give Me Back My Horror. We have a main page. It's Give Me Back My Podcast Network. It'll have links to our groups. We are currently working on other groups for the other channels we got coming in. I run the Instagram account. It's Give Me Back My Action Movies on Instagram. Give Me Back My Horror Movies on Instagram. Um, we have a email address for right now. It's just under the action, but if you want to email us about the horror stuff, it's gmbmampod@gmail.com. As Dan says, say it with us, Pete, because they have one almost as long as ours. Um,
And I
also,
would say too, like, if you're in the group and you're like, "Oh, I got one for Nate and Charlie," like, let us know, like,
yeah, either
it could be something
post
that
it
I
in the
haven't
group,
seen.
send us a private message, however
Yeah,
you want to
just send
send
us a
it to us.
message of like, "You guys need to see this. You guys need to check this out." And maybe it's something we haven't heard of. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
definitely down for if it piques our interest. If
absolutely.
regardless, I'll probably watch it first and then tell Charlie like, "Yeah, dude, check this one out."
Yeah, that we may do that on like some of the more the suggestions and being like, yeah, let's watch it first. Unless it's like what I found earlier where we're all like, "Oh, this has to be either great or bad, so we're going to wait."
Yeah.
Um Also want to throw a shout out to Poster Smash. They're also on the action group, but really in the horror group because they made a movie. The Witch House, which is actually winning awards on the international circuit run, what however they do that. So multiple award winning independent movie called The Witch House. James and Bobby do it. Working on trying to get them on the show once things get going. The reason I bring
Cannot
them up
wait.
is because it was James who was kind of, hey man, you should do a horror group like you do the action group. So he's kind of the brainchild to kick me in the pants to get this started. We want to throw a big thank you to Mountain Empire Comics. They're huge supporters of us. Their stores are in Bristol, Johnson City. Rob and Diane run those. They also run the local convention, which once things get a little bit more normalized, you'll see me at. We'll be promoting the show. So I don't have Dan's list. Dan's usually has everything in
Yeah, he's
front of
got a
him.
really tidy list.
He does. We'll get there. Again, this is our first episode for the horror movie show. We're going a little long here, but thanks for sticking around with us. We'll get things tighter. We'll have some cool drops and sound effects. But don't worry, Benny is here to stay. I love that drop.
No, it's
But
a good one. It's gotta stay.
thank you guys for hanging out. Nate, did you have fun on the first episode?
Oh, this was a lot of fun, especially for what we covered as the first episode. This just made sense. It had to
Uh,
be near dark. There, I would have
all
not had
right.
it any other way.
Yeah, I dig it. I think I had a good time. We're having fun doing this. I have an outro for the action one. You have anything in on mind that you would want to use as an outro for this show yet?
Like a little catchphrase for like,
Yeah, I do. I get, I'll be back on the action movie, and that's what we end on. But you got
I mean,
anything?
me being unoriginal is just going to be groovy.
We'll take it.